Let's discuss the comprehension questions in your CSAT paper for this week's simulator. The first passage, let's get to it very quickly. Medicine is at a turning point, on the cusp of major change as disruptive technologies such as genetics, RNA interference and cell therapies enable scientists to approach diseases in new ways. So they're saying that, okay, there is a disruptive change that is happening because of technology in medicine. Okay, so there is a disruptive change that is happening. All right. The swiftness of this change is being driven by innovations such as CRISPR gene editing, which make it possible to correct the errors in DNA with relative ease. Progress in this field has been so rapid that the dialogue around potential societal and safety issues are scrambling to catch up. Right? The technology is moving faster than our ability to analyze. Okay. Aside from safety risks, human genome editing poses some hefty ethical questions also. For families who have watched their children suffer from devastating genetic diseases, the technology offers the hope of editing cruel mutations out of the gene pool. Okay, for those living in poverty, it is yet another way for the privileged to vault ahead. Okay. So, what is the question that they asked you? They asked you, on the basis of the above passage, the following assumptions. What are the assumptions? Rapid developments in medicine hinder the thorough discussions around their potential impact. Yes, because all of the debate about the societal and safety risks are scrambling to catch up. That's what the passage says. So, one is a reasonable assumption to make. Disruptive technologies such as gene editing are out of the reach of poor people. The last part of the passage is saying that for those living in poverty, it is yet another way for the privileged to vault ahead. So the privileged people can sort of run ahead. They can give advantage from the poor people because of gene editing. So of course, 2 also makes sense as a reasonable assumption. The correct answer becomes both 1 and 2. Second passage is what? Threats to the integrity of electoral democracy are manifold. There are many threats to the electoral democracy. The comparative literature has focused on what? Vertical threats. Manipulation of elections by central governments, by something which is above the election, right? However, there is also a need to pay attention to horizontal threats, right? Things that are on the same level, such as the societal subversion of democratic elections by criminal violence. The so-called drug war in Mexico illustrates the chilling effects of private organized violence on electoral democracy. Correct. It not only damages the democratic integrity of elections, but also has an impact on the surrounding rights and liberties. Fair enough. What did they ask you? Which among the following can be a valid assumption that can be made from the above passage? Very quickly, when we talk about assumptions, I want you to remember, what did I tell you? That you have assumption, right? After that comes the passage. After that you have inference, right? And after that you'll have crux or conclusion or whatever, right? So what does the mnemonic become? It is to be epic, right? Assumption is something, the thought, the idea that comes before the information given in the passage. Inference is something that you gain out of the information of the passage, something that is after the flow of thought of the passage. And crux and conclusion is of course something that comes a lot after that. And in that same vein, you have crux, you have conclusion. One important thing you have, that is corollary. What is corollary? It is some statement that follows from the flow of logic of the passage, right? Some information might be added, but it has to go forward, further from the information of the passage. So what do we say? Drug syndicates are the biggest threat to the democracy in developing nations. Again, this sort of superlative was not given in the passage. They just said that this also has to be considered. It was an example. In many nations, criminal activities receive hidden support from the government. Now this is an extrapolation, that is, it is going beyond what the passage says. So this is out of scope of the passage. Private organized violence is more harmful to electoral democracy than governmental manipulation. Was there any sort of comparison in the passage? No, there was no comparison. We were only talking about two different things that exist, right? And that everything should be given somewhat similar attention. The impacts of crime on democracy have largely been ignored. This is what the passage was saying, that okay, this sort of horizontal threat to electoral democracy is not gaining the sort of attention that it should, right? So D was the correct answer. Now, passage 3. When it comes to economic change, it is devilishly difficult to separate the demand side causes from the supply side causes. Okay. However, the present slowing of growth points to the recent slowdown in demand. So they're saying that the recent slowing of demand, the recent slowing of growth is because of the corresponding slow of demand, right? That is something that we can see. The growth slowdown has taken place when the supply side governed by policy has not seen any great worsening for the firms in the non-agricultural sector. In the non-agricultural sector, there's not been that much degrowth in the supply side. In the past, even at times when the supply side was not much favorable than it is now, private investment had been high, right? It stands depressed today, leaving the economy almost entirely dependent upon public investment. Which of the following statements are correct? Okay. Private investment is high in the present and hence it must be supported by public investment. No. Private investment is high. This is not given in the passage right here. It says that it stands depressed today. What is it pointing to? In the past, even at times when the supply side was not much more favorable than it is now, private investment has been high. It stands depressed today. What is it? It is pointing to private investment. So it's saying private investment is depressed today. It is low today. And what does this statement say? It is high at present level. So this is wrong. There is a slowdown in economic growth. Of course, this much is true in the passage. You can see, as it is difficult to separate demand side and supply side causes, the reasons of the present economic change are not known. Is it not known? The passage clearly says here that the present slowing of growth points to the recent slowdown in demand. So it's, of course, it's known, and the passage is telling us what the cause is. So that's why 3 was also wrong and only option 2 was correct. Passage 4. According to legend, tea was first discovered by the Chinese emperor. It is said that the emperor liked his drinking water boiled before he drank it, and one day when the servant began boiling water for him, a dead leaf of a wild tea bush fell into the water. The servant didn't notice it and presented the water to the emperor, who tasted it and found it very refreshing. Tea then came into being. The custom of drinking tea widened its scope of influence at high speed and penetrated into nooks of people's daily life. Whenever a guest or a casual visitor arrived, the offer of a cup of tea would show at least respect, if not friendship and affection. Therefore, for more than 1,000 years, the serving of tea to a guest has been the universal etiquette in China. And now, tea is prevalent across several cultures in the world and remains a focal point for social gatherings. What is the question that they asked you? What is the most logical inference that you can make from the passage? The discovery of tea was purely accidental in nature. Now the passage starts that according to legend. What is according to legend? It is a story, may or may not be true, can or cannot be verified. So how can we say for sure that it was a purely accidental discovery? That is just a story that we know of, so we can't be sure. If we have no better option, then we might consider this. Guests find it refreshing to be served tea when they arrive. Now this is a very generic statement, right? What is said was the emperor found it refreshing, and now it came into the nooks of people's daily life. Later in time, people added it to their daily life, the custom of drinking tea. And when somebody came up, then whenever a guest or a casual visitor came to visit them, a cup of tea shows what? Respect, if not friendship or affection. So they're not saying that the idea is to refresh your guests. You can find other refreshing drinks to give your guests, but the passage is saying that it is a symbol of affection, friendship, relationship when you're giving somebody tea when they arrive. So B is not our inference here. Tea is now a part of social gatherings in several cultures, and serving it is a part of etiquette. Serving it is a part of etiquette, we know from what? The story about how what is happening in the Chinese culture, right? And is it a part of social gatherings in several cultures? Yes, because at the end we are saying that it is prevalent in several cultures, and it is actually the focal point of social gatherings. It is the center around which the social gathering is structured. So C is a good option here for us to consider as the most logical inference. If you do not offer tea to a visitor or a guest at home in China, then he might get offended. This type of negative analysis, right, when you do negation of a statement and then do it, that is something that you employ as a technique in your logical reasoning question. Here we are only looking for inference, and C is a valid option here. Now passage 5. The tension between theory and the real world can produce a tendency to see the development of theory as a response to events in the world, with seemingly new phenomena requiring fresh theories. The most recent involving the end of the Cold War, the demise of bipolarity, and the questions about the status of American hegemony. Now see, from here to here it is only one statement. What are we saying? That the tension between theory and reality can produce a tendency to see the development of theory, that theory is developing as a response to what has happened in the world. You can start to think, and then you start to think that every time something new happens, I create a new theory to fit my theory with the reality. The most recent phenomena of this is the end of the Cold War. Whatever happened in recent global geopolitics, the end of Cold War, demise of bipolarity, and what is the idea of American hegemony, the author is saying that people tend to tweak their theories to sort of fit the reality. Okay, if the US could disguise its empire building project and legitimize its aggressive foreign policy behavior as a necessary defensive posture to contain the threat of communism and the USSR during the Cold War, it could not continue to do so after the collapse of USSR and after the end of the Cold War. So whatever US was doing, disguising its intentions during the Cold War, after USSR fell, it could not really take the same logical road. You can't really say that everything we're doing, we're protecting countries against USSR. After USSR is fallen, then you can't give the same logic for your activities. So that is what changed after Cold War. It is therefore in greater need than ever before of the legitimizing discourses that many North American and European intellectuals on the right and liberal center seem eager to provide. Therefore, United States is therefore is a lot of need of legitimizing discourse, of talk, of debate, that is giving legitimacy to its activities. That many North American and European intellectuals, that people with a lot of intellectual ability, with a lot of intellect, of the right and liberal center, this is their political stance. The people with intellect that are there in the right and liberal center, they are sort of giving legitimizing discourse. They're talking about, they're giving theories, they're giving reasons, they're having discussions to explain America's behavior in the past and in the present. This also demonstrates the knowledge of power, the knowledge and power relationship in international relations, right? How power and knowledge sort of interact in international relations. What is the question? What is the most logical and crucial message conveyed by the passage? So what we want you to do is, I want you to consider this entire passage and then see what is it that they're trying to tell you. The end of the Cold War has put the questions on the legitimacy of the intervention of the US. So is this what they're saying? If this was true, then the passage would look like, okay, the Cold War is ended and the United States has these problems, and this is why we're questioning its legitimacy. The passage does not follow this pattern, right? That's why this cannot be the message of the passage. right? There's a continuous quest to justify the aggressive foreign policy of the US by several Western scholars. Now this is true. The entire passage is telling us that what? That theory and reality is being pushed, right? That earlier the American people, the American polity were giving some reason to be against USSR, and that's why their aggression against countries of the world. But now they need more legitimizing discourse by intellectual people. So of course by several Western scholars we're looking for justifications of the aggressive foreign policy. That's why B is an answer that appeals to us. The collapse of USSR has changed the status of the US hegemony. This is also an attractive option. But why is this not the central message? Although it is true and it is also implied in the passage, but for this to be the message, to be the central message of the passage, then the passage would look like that USSR collapsed, right? And then earlier the status of US hegemony was this, and then it's changed to this format. And this again is not what my passage looks like. That's why C is not the central message. The international relations require constant innovations in theoretical framework. This is true, but this is not what the passage is telling me, because for this to be the message of the passage would look like that, okay, in international relations scenario 1, we had to change the meaning of political theory. In international relations scenario 2, this happened, right? So then we could sort of come to the conclusion that, okay, international relations in general require constant innovations. This passage was only talking about one instance, and that is about the US. That's why only B is the core message that is given by this passage. Now passage 6, it is widely recognized that political secularism virtually everywhere in the world is in crisis. It is also acknowledged that to overcome this crisis, secularism needs to be reimagined and reconceptualized. We need to move away from the standard church-state model of secularism. Where is church-state model of secularism? I can't see it. Here, church-state model of secularism, and begin to focus instead on secularism as a response to deep-rooted religious diversity. So we are giving two types of models. Furthermore, diversity must be understood as enmeshed in power relations. Enmeshed means inside of a mesh. It is stuck between power relations. Therefore, the hidden potential of religion related domination must be explicitly acknowledged. Alright, also these two moves enable us to view secularism as a response to two forms of institutionalized religious domination, inter and intra-religious. What are we saying? This new definition of secularism that we're talking about, we have to think of inter, between two different religions, and intra, within that religion, if there is secularism present. This way of conceiving secularism rebukes the charge, it goes against the charge that secularism is intrinsically anti-religious. Why? Because we're talking about intra-religious diversity also. Secularism is not against religion, it opposes institutionalized religious domination. A secular state should show critical respect to all religious and philosophical worldviews, possible only when it adopts a policy of principled distance from each of them. What question did they ask you? Which of the following is the most logical and rational inference that can be made from the passage? The standard model of church-state separation is no more applicable to the modern world. No, the passage is saying that it is partly applicable and we need to supplement that theory with another idea. Secularism seems to be in a crisis across the globe and needs to be protected. This is true, but for you to form this as the central inference, the passage would have to look like, okay, these are the ways in which secularism is in crisis, right? That is not the, although it is true, but that does not form the primary inference that you form. Let's look at other options also. A new model of secularism based on principled distance would make it more accommodative and acceptable. This one is correct. Why? Because the passage is telling you that, okay, this is the original system, but there are two systems and they will help in this way, right? So it will more accommodative, and it will be more accommodative and acceptable if we use these two models. A modern state cannot function without the value of secularism. This is too far away from the passage. So the correct answer is only C, although B would look quite appealing to you, but as compared to C, C is a better answer. Passage 7. Some years back, when there was a shortage of food, India focused its efforts on the output growth to raise food production. Now, the country has contemplated to move from a single goal to multiple goals like sustainability, efficiency, equity, affordable, healthy and safe food, and improving farmers' income and competitiveness in the food value chain. It is realized that this large set of goals cannot be accomplished through business as usual approach. It is at the same time we recognize that many areas of concern cannot be left to the market and they require proactive initiative from the government, public institutions, private sector and civil society. India also offers useful lessons to its experience to deal with shocks like the global food price shock of 2007-11 and the more recent shock of COVID-19. Being a very large and diverse country, we have experiences, success stories and from subnational level which are used to shape pathways for the future development of agriculture. So what we are saying is that earlier there was a shortage of food, now our goals have diversified. We have great experience with food crisis and being a large diverse country, we have a lot of things to contribute. Question 7 about this is, with reference to the above passage, the following assumptions have been made. India faced a food shortage due to low food production during the period between 2007-11. This idea about low food production is not given. We just know that there was a food crisis in 7-11. That's why this is out of scope of the passage, so I can't make this assumption. Climate change is presenting a new threat to food security. Again, there was no talk of climate change, so this again becomes out of scope of the passage. India presently does not face the issue of food shortage. Yes, some years back there was a shortage of food, right? India raised its efforts to increase food production, and now the country is moving forward from a single goal to multiple goals. Since we are moving to multiple goals, that means the earlier crisis has been solved. So, even though it might not be true in the current context, but in terms of the passage, option 3 is true. Agriculture now is not seen with the sole aim of raising food production. Yes, the passage gives a bunch of examples also of the things that are now into consideration. The answer therefore becomes D. Question 8 from this passage is, which among the following is the most rational and logical inference that can be made from the above passage? Government intervention in agricultural marketing leads to be reduced. There was no talk of government intervention, out of scope. COVID-19 led to an increase in malnutrition. We didn't talk about malnutrition, we were talking about food shortages. So therefore, out of scope. All segments of the society need to be involved for the future development of agriculture. This is true. We are a large and diverse country. We have various experience, right? So what we are trying to see is India should be included in this discussion, and that's why we are saying that all segments of the society need to be involved. So far this is something which we have, which we can consider to be correct. Green revolution helped India to achieve the self-sufficiency in food production. Again, there was no talk of green revolution in the passage. That's why only option C is something that fits, even though this is not directly available in the passage, but as an inference we can tick C. Now if you get a question like this in which you can just eliminate, and the thing that is left behind with you, even though does not look very appealing but can be true, then you have to think that this is the way that the question has been designed to play with your mind, right, in your CSAT paper. So please do attempt this type of question. Passage 8. Value can be generated directly and indirectly by new projects. How? Capturing value means taking advantage of the increase in value that occurs when someone makes the improvement or an investment. What are they saying? If a government builds a new railway line, for example, that investment will create direct economic value through the money expended and the fares collected, right? Whatever is spent on building that railway line and whatever fares are collected, all of that will be direct economic benefit. It also creates indirect benefits. As the improvement increases, the value of the surrounding real estate and the new services stimulate wider economic activity. So if you've got the railway, then people can use that to commute, increase the economic activity, and that's why this will be indirect value addition. Ideally, the government will capture a share of that increased value as well. That means the government should tax that indirect increase of economic value also. It can then use that value. It means the government can also then use that value to fund other public infrastructure or that public infrastructure. The government should try and capture a portion of this value to help fund and finance the specific project or future expenditures. However, if it does not plan to do so from the outset, the capture of value becomes far more difficult following the announcement of the planned infrastructure. If you did not think of planning this indirect addition of value preemptively, then after the project is involved, is announced, then it is very difficult to track what value addition has been there. That was the passage. The question they asked you from this is, which of the following is the most logical and crucial message in the above passage? Value capture finance should be utilized effectively by the government. True enough, but let's look at the other options. Estimating and capturing the real value of an infrastructure project is difficult. No, we were talking about the indirect value addition that is difficult. Sorry, wait. It is indirect value addition which is difficult. The best way to finance the public infrastructure is to get funds from previous projects. This is not what the passage was saying. They were saying that there is an opportunity that is available in your infrastructure projects. Infrastructure is essential to stimulate economic activity and lead to economic growth. This part, this essential part, and what infrastructure has to do, this is out of scope of the passage. So only option A is something that we find appealing. Passage 9 now. Migration is a complex phenomenon where several factors act together to inform the final individual decision to migrate. So they're saying it's not just one decision, but several factors come together to motivate somebody to migrate. Integrating the simpler previous push and pull theory. According to the macro factors, the political, demographic, socio-economic and environmental situations are major contributions to migration. These are the main drivers of the forced migration, either international or internal, and largely out of the individual's control. Fair enough. Among the other factors, communication technology, land grabbing and diasporic links play an important role. In particular, social media attracts people from their origin country by raising the awareness of living conditions in the affluent world. You see what is happening in a different country and you want to sort of migrate there. Albeit grossly exaggerated, within the diaspora link also acting as an attractor. So when somebody from your family goes abroad, even if they're exaggerating the affluence of their country which they're now residing in, even then it becomes an attraction for people to now want to migrate also. However, micro factors such as education, religion, marital status and personal attitude to migration also have a key role in making the final decision to migrate an individual choice. Fair enough. What question did they ask you? Which one of the following is best implied in the passage? Social media portrays an inflated way of living in foreign countries. This is implied in the passage, but this is not the main topic that we're talking about. The motivation of migration goes beyond just the social economic factors. Now this is also true. When you have A and B, both of these are true, then you have to see which one is more reflective of the passage. Social media portrays an inflated way of the way people live. This is only for this small part of the passage, right? But motivation is beyond what is basic, then the entire passage gets covered in meaning. That's why it is better implied in the passage. So that's why we're looking for the best implication, right? The sort of question tags that you get in your CSAT paper, you have to be very careful about what they're trying to ask you. It's not necessarily something that you can always eliminate. Sometimes you have to pick between 4 things which are all true. Now let's see for the rest of this question. Push-pull theory of migration is irrelevant in modern times. No, the passage says that this has been expanded. Choice is an important factor in making the decision of migration. This again is true, but this is not completely representative of all of the information in the passage, and that's why only option B was correct here. Passage 10. In the age of digitization, dealing responsibility with data poses a dilemma. On the one hand, there is individually tangible and easily comprehensible added value of personal data processing by public and private sector institutions. Getting my own personal data processed by mega corporations is of course useful to me. Examples include the personalization of products and services, the refinement of healthcare, availability of favorable insurance rates for individuals with low risk profiles. There are also benefits made possible by the donation of sensitive personal data. How? For example, in order to advance research and public health surveillance. On the other hand, there is the more or less abstract idea that individuals, specific groups or communities should retain control over the handling of their data. In order to address issues like these, recent years have seen an emergence of the notion of data sovereignty in debates on the development, implementation and adjustment of new data-driven technologies and their infrastructure. Fair enough, quite straightforward. They're saying that as digitization is improved, the requirement of understanding data has to be balanced because it has certain benefits, it has certain disadvantages, and this new idea of data sovereignty has emerged, and what are the implications of that. Now, what is the question that they asked you among this? Question 23. The sensitive personal data can be put to use for a larger public good. What have they told you? You have to look for the assumptions and which of these assumptions are valid. Sensitive personal data can be put to use for larger public good. Yes, they say that for public health and for advanced research, you can use sensitive data. Right? Telling people what diseases you have, it's quite sensitive personal data, but it can be helpful for public policy. The idea of data sovereignty is associated with people having control over their own data. Now, this is also correct for the passage. We should give away some of our data to reap the benefits out of it. This is not something that the passage is talking about. So, only 1 and 2 are correct for question 23. Passage 11. Wetlands have become the cause célèbre for conservation-minded people and organizations. Cause célèbre means a cause of celebration. Célèbre is celebration in French. So, it's a cause célèbre for conservation-minded people and organizations throughout the world, in part because they have become synonymous of our systematic dismantling of the world's water resources, and in part because their disappearance represents an easily recognizable loss of natural areas to economic progress. So there are 2 reasons why people are so fascinated by wetlands. Why? Because one, they have it's symbolic of the way it's easily recognizable, the way that economic development is hampering their existence, right? And it's easy to recognize that economic progress is taking a chunk out of the natural area. But there is optimism by some that wetlands can be created and restored, and that the ecosystem services such as the biodiversity protection can be thus restored. Loss rates of wetland around the world are, and the subsequent recognition of wetland values have stimulated the restoration and creation of these systems. So they're saying that a big chunk of people believe that it is an optimistic belief that the wetlands can be restored, right? And in pursuance to that, there are organizations that are working towards it. Wetland restoration involves returning a wetland to its original or previous wetland state, whereas wetland creation involves the creation of uplands or shallow open water systems to vegetated wetlands. So what are they saying? Restoration means that you improve the situation of a pre-existing wetland and Wetland creation means a new wetland has to be created in land where it does not exist before. Question 24 out of this passage is what? Which of the following is the most logical and rational inference that can be made from the above passage? The restoration of wetland is directly proportional to their loss rate. Again, there's no such direct correlation that is given in the passage. Humans have interfered with the natural water resources of the world. This is true, but this is not something that the passage was focused on, and it's not the most logical and rational inference that you can derive from it. The loss of wetlands and the environment is inevitable in the process of economic progress. This inevitability is not something that the passage is discussing. The good part of conserving wetlands is that they can be both reduced and created anew. This is something that the passage was saying, that there is optimism that wetlands can be restored. So, B is a valid inference that you can make from the passage. Passage 12 for question 25. We are currently in a renaissance period for long-term investors. It was not too long ago that the sovereign wealth funds and government pension funds of the world were mainly passive investors, holding positions primarily in stocks and bonds and relying on the expertise of outside asset managers. Today, these funds have evolved into sophisticated investors in their own right. So they are saying that these long-term investment funds are now acting in a new way. What is this new way? Many have expanded their investment teams and operations and have started investing in broader range of asset classes such as real estate and infrastructure. Many have gone a step further by adopting a risk factor approach where each investment is decomposed into several risk factors: interest rate factor, equity factor, inflation factor, etc. So basically the passage is saying that earlier these long-term investments were of one kind, now we've changed. We are seeing a sort of change that is there. Which of the following statements best implies the crux of the passage? Long-term investors are now actively investing beyond stocks and bonds using more people and more knowledge. Fair enough. Investment team is required to manage a large and long-term investment fund? No. Stocks and bonds don't attract long-term investment? No. Risk factor approach should be adopted? No. So this is not representative of the passage that we have. The passages which would have this crux would look sort of different, and therefore the only answer that fits our requirement for question 25 is A only. Passage 13 for question 26. Multinational businesses in India are under pressure to make their strategies in rural India deliver top and bottom line results despite the relentless challenges of operating in the hinterland. Multinational corporations in India have this pressure to deliver top line, bottom line, right? Sales and value, sales and profit both in rural areas. So despite the relentless challenges of operating there, after years of false starts, missed opportunities and flawed strategies, a number of MNCs, Indian businesses are getting close to what? Realizing their targets. Others already are there and are ramping up their rural investments. No one can take that fine balance between doing good and doing business for granted. For many MNCs, there's a lot more riding on their rural Indian performance than there once was, as India's growth story is spreading to the heartland. What we're saying that since India's growth is now spreading to the rural areas also, then MNCs want a chunk of that pie also. Ultimately, the rural agenda has been driven both by purpose and performance. Okay. What is the most logical and crucial message conveyed by the above passage? MNCs in India should focus on doing good business in rural areas. Is this what we're talking about, what they should or should not do? No. We're just saying that MNCs already want to do it, right? How are they going to do it? Many companies have failed and missed the opportunities in rural market of India. If this was the message, then the passage would have a bunch of different examples, and then we conclude that okay, many companies have missed their opportunities. The multinational businesses should maintain a balance between doing good and doing good business in rural markets. Directly from the passage, C fits. The futures of MNCs in India depend on how they tackle the rural market of India. The talk about what will happen if they miss their targets is missing from the passage. So only option C will fit in question 26. Passage 14 for question 27 to 28. Since the launch of economic reforms in 1991, the disparity between growth rates of output in agriculture and non-agricultural sector has risen sharply. So the difference between the growth rates in these two sectors, that has increased. The average growth rate of 5 years in agriculture hovered around a long-term growth trend of 3%, whereas the growth for non-agricultural sector increased steadily from around 6% during the early 1990s to 10% in 2004 to 2008-9 and 7.5% during the recent 5 years. An important reason for this is the price incentive offered by the agricultural market An important reason for this is that the price incentive offered by the agricultural market in the country did not improve, as these markets remained fragmented, inefficient and dominated by low scale and multiple middlemen, right? So we're saying that what were the problems that ailed the agricultural sector, because of which its growth rate remained quite low than the non-agricultural sector. Now question 27. What is the most logical and crucial message conveyed by the passage? Farmers' income has grown slowly as compared to the people employed in service sector. One, we didn't talk about the service sector specifically, and we've not seen the speed of the growth, right? We're only seeing the difference between the growth of the two sectors. So one is not right. The economic reforms in 1991 had no provision for including the agricultural market. Again, quite extreme, and we have no description of the 1991 reforms in detail that we can make such an assumption. The average annual growth rate in the agriculture has steadily increased since 1991. We don't have trends that are available here, so C is wrong. The number of roadblocks have restricted the growth of the agricultural sector. This much is true. So this is the most logical and crucial message that is given out by the passage. Now, with reference to the above passage, these assumptions have been made. Which of these are valid, right? Let's see. Since 1991, no reform in the agricultural sector has been successfully implemented. We're saying that, okay, there were these problems in the agricultural sector and they are still continuing, right? So we are saying that since then, the reforms in the agricultural market have not been successfully implemented. There have been reforms, but they were not successful, right? So that is something you can infer from the passage, right? Because what we're trying to do, this is the assumption that you're making. Because the agricultural growth rate was not great, because we had fragmentation, inefficiency, domination by low scale multiple middlemen, right? That is why the reforms have not worked properly. Information and communication technology can help in reforming the agricultural market. This is not true, because this is not something that was in the passage. This one is out of scope. Now, passage 15 for question 41. Yes, the institutional underbrush of international cooperation is littered by organizations. So they say that if institutions are a bush, right, then in this bush, the base of this bush is littered by a bunch of different organizations. So this is quite imagery which is given in this sentence, making it impossible for governments to deal with them, much less so in a creative manner. It is not only a matter of overlap or duplication of efficiency or corruption, all of which may play a role, but the present organizational overload in the international global system needs to be pruned so as to enable leaders committed to the global cooperation to focus on the truly important issues and choose the most suitable organization for the action, right? So they say there are a lot of organizations and there are multiple reasons why that is problematic. What we need is that this overload should be pruned, the excess should be removed so that there is ease of working with these organizations. Under no circumstances should new organizations be created henceforth without abolishing existing ones, right? So don't just keep creating new organizations, abolish the old ones so that we don't have too much redundancy. By its very nature, this process of reform will be incremental. If you do this, then of course you'll have incremental reform. Which of the following statements best reflects the critical message of the passage? Let's see. We should reduce the number of international organizations for better internal cooperation. Fair enough. the process of international cooperation is incremental in nature. No, the reform was incremental in nature. So no. We must abandon old organizations and create new ones for better global cooperation. No, they said that when you're creating a new organization, then you ensure that the older one is dismantled. Right? That is what they said. The issue of efficiency and corruption plagued the growth of international organizations. We never talked about the growth of international organizations. That's why only option A is something that was appealing, and option A is the only one that will fit our requirement. Passage 16 for question 42. Space flight isn't just a masterminded escape plan for the richest among us, though. The key to saving our planet and humanity partly relies on the innovations from space exploration. The commercial sector has already adopted inventions that were funded or designed by space agencies. These include several ecology-based projects, like the one that uses LED light color that triggers growth in indoor agriculture, or satellites used to predict weather and document climate change. So they're saying space flight is not just going to space, but there are a lot of technologies that are created and they are also useful for other areas. Space technologies are evolving and can help us harness a more sustainable world. While space technologies aren't the end-all be-all answer to reduce climate change on Earth, they play a significant role in reporting how we manage life at home. So it's not that space technology will come and fix all of the problems that we have in climate change, but it can give you some solutions to problems. 42. Here's the question: which of the following is the most rational inference that can be made from the passage? Space flight would aid both the rich and poor people alike. Now, there is no description of what happens, what are the benefits distribution of rich and poor people. That's why A is not something that is appealing to this option, to this question. Space technology has a wide application beyond space exploration. This is something that the passage is talking about. Space technology have wide applications. You can use it in agriculture, you're using it in climate prediction, things like that. The problem of climate change can be managed with space technologies. Again, it can help, but it's not the end all be all. That's why this is not appealing. Companies have adopted many technologies adopted by space explorers. This is true, but we never talked about companies. We just said that it is potential that is generated, right? That's why the rest of the options are just part of what the passage is saying. Only B is representing the most logical inference because it is representing most of the passage, and that is something that you'll infer from the passage. Now, passage 17. Groundwater is not merely a liquid. It is about livelihood, food, health, nutrition, economy, and well-being. There can be no separation between producers and consumers vis-a-vis groundwater, as no one remains untouched by it, thus making everybody responsible for its sustenance. Right? Because groundwater is so important, then everybody should be involved in its sustenance. The role of groundwater in development has come a long way, beginning with livelihood, food security, and health, and extending to commerce, industry, and sports. So groundwater has varied roles. The business of creating wealth from groundwater is founded on the concept of resource exploitation. However, regeneration comes at a price, affecting the profit margins. Fair enough. Classifying groundwater use could be the most impactful action. Primary groundwater use needs to be restricted to irrigation and health needs. Commercial, industrial, and other wealth generation requirements can be met through secondary and tertiary water after recycling, treatment, and reuse. Such a classification can reduce the demand substantially while improving efficiency. So what are we saying? We're saying groundwater is very important. It is, everybody will use it mostly. So everybody should be involved in its sustenance, right? Managing it should include everybody. The role of groundwater is in different businesses. Some businesses are extracting profit from it. So we should classify groundwater. Primary needs, primary groundwater use, using fresh groundwater should only be for specific things. What? Irrigation and health. Everything else will be secondary or tertiary, which is how you use, we have to reuse rainwater, right? Once it is reclaimed, then you use it for other purposes. What is the question now? What is the most logical and rational inference that you can make from the passage? Exploration is always driven by the idea of exploitation. This is a very vague generic statement, and that cannot be the inference that you drive from this passage, which might be true for water, but that is not the only inference that you make from this passage. The role of groundwater in the process of development of a country has evolved over the years. There is no discussion of the evolution of the use of groundwater. We should classify groundwater by its usage and to use it substantially and effectively. This is correct. This is what the passage was telling you to do. Companies can't be trusted with the regeneration recharge of the groundwater. Again, the description of the intention of companies was not in the passage. So for 43, the only answer was C. Question 44 from passage 18. What was the passage? The economic crisis has led to increased demand for and reduced resources for health sector. The trends for increasing healthcare costs to individuals, the health sector and wider society is significant. Primary health can be a part of the solution to this challenge. The evidence shows that preservation can be cost effective, provide value for money and give returns on investment in both the short and longer terms. So they're saying that there is an economic crisis because of which health sector was impacted, and because the costs are increasing, that's why we have a trend. Now public health should be a part of the solution to this problem. The evidence shows that the prevention can be cost effective, provide value for money and give returns on investment for both short and long terms. Great. We need to highlight the returns on investment for health and other sectors for interventions that promote physical activity and healthy employment. So we're saying that in the long term we have to do preventive healthcare also. Address housing and mental health. So figure out how people should improve the way they live and manage their mental health, and reduce road traffic injuries and violence. Vaccinations and screening programs are largely cost effective. Population level interventions. Population level approaches are estimated to cost on an average 5 times less than individual interventions. So when you're working about healthcare in a population scenario, then the costs to that is around 5 times lesser than something that will have to be spent by each individual looking after their healthcare. We can look at examples of interventions with early returns on investment and approaches with long-term gains. Investing in cost-effective interventions to reduce costs to the health sector and other sectors can help create sustainable health systems and economies for the future. So fair enough. That was the passage. What is the question? What is the most logical and crucial message conveyed by the passage? Public health investments can reap significant rewards for economies, because at a population level it is quite economical to look after healthcare. Prevention is the better approach suited to public healthcare. Again, true, but not the central message of the passage. Public health should be prioritized over individual health. No, they said that public health is more cost effective, not that it should be prioritized. It is relatively low in cost to invest in the public healthcare infrastructure as compared to what? Incomplete thought, and it is not the central message. So only option A was something that was appealing to us for this passage. Passage 19 for 45 and 46. The common and strongly health view in India is that balanced fertilizer use requires 3 major plant nutrients, namely nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium, which has to be used in the ratio of 4:2:1. Right? And any deviation in fertilizer use from this norm would constrain the growth in crop productivity. So there is this belief that these are the 3 fertilizers that we need in India, and they should be in this ratio only. Do not deviate or else your crop productivity will be low. This officially accepted perception, a product of 1950s experiments, has led to wrong policies on fertilizers. Estimating the actual and normative quality of N, P and K for each state of India corresponding to their current cropping pattern, it is found that contrary to the notion that there is excess use of nitrogen in India, 12 major states were found to be using less than the required level. India in fact faces large deficits in the use of phosphorus and potassium. It calls for curtailing the use of nitrogen in 1/3 of the states and raising it in the remaining 2/3. So what are they saying? They're saying that the perception of how fertilizers have to be used, that is wrong, and we need to rationalize that. What is the question? With reference to the above passage, the following assumptions have been made. Fertilizer use should not be based on an outdated norm. This much is true. They're saying that this idea of NPK in 4:2:1 is wrong, right? In many states. So we should move away from it. It is a common practice in India that farmers apply excess nitrogen. No, in 12 states it says that the amount of nitrogen that is applied is quite low. So only option 1 was correct. 46. Which of the following statements best reflects the critical message of the passage? The 4:1 norm for fertilizer use is not relevant for the present agricultural situation of India. Fair enough. Fertilizer plays a crucial role in the growth of agricultural output. That is not the critical message. The correct fertilizer policy should reduce the share of nitrogen and reduce. This is again very specific for the example. That is not what the passage is trying to tell you. Now see, option C is true in context to the passage. This is information that is given in the passage, right? So you'd think, okay, this is what the message is. But the message of the passage is that what is that entire passage trying to convince you of, right? What is its pitch? What is it trying to tell you? If you get limited to one fact, then your ability to comprehend that passage is reduced, right? Because beyond that fact, that passage is trying to tell you something more, right? So that was why A is more correct. Plants require only 3 nutrients, again wrong. The next passage, passage 20 for question 47-48. When comparing the cost of ethanol, methanol and gasoline, methanol is the cheapest alternative fuel available. Cost of gasoline including taxes is INR 94.49 per litre, and the cost of ethanol including taxes on an energy equivalent basis with gasoline is what? INR 69.9. Whereas the cost of methanol on an energy equivalent basis with gasoline is INR 37.6. Since there is no commercial coal to methanol plant in India, the government is yet to define the tax structure on methanol. However, even if the government levies a tax of INR 58 on methanol, the price will become INR 96.12 on an energy equivalent basis with gasoline, which is very much in the range of current gasoline prices prevailing in India. Unlike ethanol, methanol will not ignite a food versus fuel security debate. Rather, using coal to produce methanol will help India monetize its domestic resources to reduce crude oil imports. What are we saying? That we have ethanol, methanol and gasoline. Gasoline price is this much, ethanol is this much, and methanol is the cheapest, right? Assuming all taxes. Now, because we don't have a plant for methanol directly, so we don't know what tax, but even if the government puts 58 rupees ka tax on methanol, even then the price will be competitive with gasoline, with petrol, right? And when that happens, it will be good. Why? Because one, the price remains competitive. Secondly, India, there will not be this debate about food versus methanol, because you're not using food resources to make the alcohol, but you're making it from coal, right? And the third thing is that you can use your coal instead of sending it to a power plant. You'll be able to use coal to make methanol. That was the passage. The question is, which among the following is best implied in the passage? Ethanol can be blended with gasoline to reduce carbon emission. We're not talking about ethanol blended petrol here. We're talking about methanol. Fuel efficiency of vehicle is more in the case of ethanol than gasoline. Again, there was no discussion of efficiencies. A high gasoline price environment incentivizes alternate fuels such as methanol and ethanol. This is true. When we were comparing the prices of these different fuels, then we were saying that even if so much tax is put, even then this fuel methanol will remain competitive, and these are the benefits. Methanol and ethanol production endanger the food security of India. Again, no, only ethanol will use food production. Methanol is produced from coal, right? So that's why only C was an acceptable answer for 47. 48. Which among the following is the most logical and rational inference that can be made from the above passage? India is facing high prices of gasoline due to high rates of taxes. This is not something that the passage was focused on. That's why we'll abandon that. Transitioning towards methanol has multiple benefits for India. This was true. India's dependence on oil imports has led to the problem of current account deficit. No talk of CAD. There are no methanol plants in India due to high tax regime. This is false. This is out of scope, and this is again out of scope. So only B was an acceptable answer. Passage 21 for questions 61 and 62. Reading comprehension is a fundamental cognitive ability for children that support school achievement and successive participation in most areas of adult life. Therefore, children with learning disabilities and special educational needs who show difficulties in text comprehension, sometimes also in association with other problems, may have an increased risk of life and school failure. So we're saying reading comprehension is a fundamental activity which has multiple abilities, multiple factors, and children with a learning disability not only might have reading comprehension issues but other learning disabilities also. Right? Reading comprehension is indeed a complex cognitive ability which focuses not only which involves not only linguistic but also cognitive and metacognitive skills, right? So you need different skills that are involved for reading comprehension, and more specifically higher order comprehension skills such as the generation of inferences, right? So you're trying to, that will be a higher order thinking skill. Recently, due to the diffusion of technology in many fields of daily life, text comprehension at school, at home during homework, and at work is based on an increasing number of digital reading devices like computers and screens. So that can become a fundamental support to improve traditional reading comprehension and reading learning skills. So basically, when we are now reading most of our things on digital platforms, then we can add certain functionalities, right? So that reading comprehension is improved. Question 61 out of this passage is, what is the crux of this passage? The diffusion of technology has hampered inference making? No. Reading comprehension is a complex ability that affects achievement of people in life. Fair enough, but we'll keep saying. Children with learning disabilities have an increased risk of school failure due to difficulties in reading comprehension. This is also true. Knowing about the grammatical knowledge is sufficient to ensure command over reading comprehension? No. Now between B and C you will get confused which of these is the more correct answer. But when we are talking about learning disabilities, that was only one example of why reading comprehension is important, right? But the entire passage is talking about what? That reading comprehension is a complex thing. It is important, right? It will have these skills that are there, right? Technology is there and we need to use technology to improve reading comprehension. So this option B sort of fits more to the entire passage. When you're looking at the crux of the passage, I want you to consider all of this passage, right? Not just a small part. 62, question 62 is what? That with reference to the above passage, the following assumptions have been made. Which of these are valid? Better school achievements are associated with a child with better reading comprehension ability. This is something that they said. Children with higher verbal intelligence have higher reading comprehension ability. Again, the passage says that just verbal intelligence is not sufficient. Other skills are also important for comprehension ability. Reading comprehension is a cognitive ability, so it cannot be altered by practice. One, this thing about practice is out of scope of the passage, and secondly, it is not just a cognitive ability. There are multiple other facets which are involved. So only one was correct, 2 and 3 were even factually wrong. So you can't make that assumption. Only one was correct. So the answer is A. Passage 22. In the last decade or so, behavioral economics has provided rich theoretical insights into human behavior, particularly those involving judgment and decision making. In this stream of literature, nudges and intervention from either private or public institutions that affects people's behavior while fully maintaining their freedom of choice is a particularly relevant thing to waste segregation. A nudge instrument attempts to influence behavior in the desired direction without altering the available options or the economic payoffs. The structured environment designed to elicit the desired behavior is called the choice architecture, which influences judgment and decision making in a subtle and automatic manner. For example, the provision of organ donation as the default option in driving and motor vehicle forms a significant increase in organ donation, just as small size plates in buffets have been found to result in less food wastage. So what are they saying? That behavioral economics has given us a lot of theories, and we use what it has given us the concept of nudges. These nudges are an instrument to both influence behavior in the desired direction or against some direction also. For example, when you have that form for your driving license, then the default option is now that in case of an accident you will be an organ donor. If you don't want that to happen, then you have to change that option. Just doing that will has given us results by improving the counts of organ donation. Similarly, in buffets, if you're using a smaller plate, then it sort of gives you a psychological nudge so that your behavior is altered and you consume less food. Now, what is the question? Question 63. Which of the following is the most logical and rational inference that can be made from the above passage? The nudge instrument can help in achieving a policy target. There was no talk of a policy target, so this is out of scope. India has high rates of organ donation due to nudge intervention. We just saw improvement. We don't know whether or not it is high as compared to other countries. We can achieve the desired decision making if limited choices are provided to the people. Appealing, but we'll keep it in the bank. Let's see. Due to irrationality in Indian society, behavioral economic tools are not so successful in India. Again, no. They've given us 2 examples. So even if you're not sure what this option C means, everything else has been eliminated. So you can safely tick it. But for sure, for your information, you can be sure that, okay, the desired decision making by limiting choices, this limiting of choices is a pointing to that we're giving them a nudge, right? Reducing their options. And limiting does not mean reduction. It can only mean that your options can be narrowed from what you had earlier, right? When you've limited the choices, it doesn't mean a reduction in number. It can also be a reduction in nature, right? So question 64. With reference to the above passage, the following assumptions have been made. Which of them are valid? People are not enthusiastic about organ donation. Now this was true. Why? Because we had to nudge people to change their behavior. So this can be a valid assumption. I told you, assumption will come before the passage, right? So some information that we can go behind the meaning of the passage. Nudges in the domain of environment friendly practices have been called green nudges. Out of scope. Nudges are cost effective policy tools, correct. Why? Because they are subtle changes that you can push, and therefore only 1 and 3 are valid assumptions. Passage 23 now, for 65 to 66. Batteries slowly degrade over time, and after a certain number of charge and discharge cycles, the cells are no longer capable of maintaining their nameplate energy rating. At some point in the life of an electric vehicle battery pack, the consumer may choose to replace the battery if its capacity is no longer sufficient to meet the end use application needs, right? So electric batteries, they will eventually, their max capacity increases. If originally it was here, then with time your battery can only sort of give this much maximum power, right? So when you're using an electrical vehicle, the user will eventually want to change their batteries. So you have these half-life batteries that are left behind. Typically this replacement occurs when the battery performance falls below 70 to 80% of the initial nameplate storing capacity. While the battery may no longer be able to meet its original performance requirements, the battery still has life remaining and can be repurposed for a second life application in line with its remaining performance characteristics. Fair enough. Second life batteries create a connection between the electric vehicle and stationary storage value chains and enable maximum value attraction of batteries before their eventual end of life, recycling or disposal. So what they're saying is somebody who owns an electrical vehicle, when they want to replace these batteries, you'll have half-life batteries, and these batteries you can put into use for some other application, right? So a link is formed. An example of this is a joint project between RWE and Audi in Germany, which will use 60 end-of-life battery systems from electric vehicles to provide 4.5 megawatt hours of energy for secondary applications such as frequency regulations. So this battery for Audi in Germany, they've signed an agreement that these half-life batteries can be used for frequency regulations for some other application for electric systems. What is the question they asked you? With reference to the above passage, the following assumptions have been made. Which of them are valid? The electric vehicle has to be replaced after the battery performance falls. You're not replacing the entire electric vehicle, you're only replacing the battery. Alright, so one is wrong for sure. Batteries can be repurposed for a second life application in the electric vehicles. No, batteries from the electric vehicles will generate half-life batteries, and then you can put it to some other use. So 2 is also wrong. Only the answer becomes D, neither 1 nor 2. Question 66. Which among the following is the most logical inference from the above passage? Let's go from the bottom. Encouraging second use applications of battery will reduce the demand of imported raw materials. We're not talking about raw material, we're just talking about life extraction and extension. Electric vehicle is facing the issue for the need of quick replacement of batteries. We're not saying quick replacement of batteries. It would work with a battery of 70% value, but we're saying that the user might want to change the batteries. So C is not right. We need to increase research in battery development. We're not talking about what research is there and how to reduce battery replacement. That is not what the passage was talking about. The passage was saying that the rate of battery replacement in EV sector will grow along with the EV market. So we should make a contingency plan of what to do with these half-life batteries. Right? So option A is the correct answer for 66. Now, passage 24. This is the last passage in this series. The immediate lockdown period of March-May 2020 created significant disruptions to access to healthcare services in India. Health services were severely curtailed during the months of the strictest lockdown in March-May 2020 compared with the same period a year earlier, right? So, disruption to healthcare service was there during the strictest lockdown. With the months leading up to March, even when the services remained open, the use of essential services decreased. This includes reduced use of essential reproductive, maternal, newborn and child health interventions, such as antenatal care, skilled attendance in births and treatment of pneumonia. A preliminary analysis conducted by a leading online news platform based on data released by the National Health Mission revealed that March 2020 saw a 15% fall in BCG pentavalent 1 and at birth oral polio vaccinations. So vaccinations fell down in 2020, coinciding with the core lockdown period. Institutional deliveries fell by 21% and deliveries at home attended by a skilled birth attendant by 25%. Routine checks on pregnant women and vital tests for the health of the mother and child were missed. So we're saying that there was loss of healthcare service due to lockdown. The question from this is, with reference to the above passage, which of the following is or are the most logical and rational inference or inferences? There was a disruption of immunization of children due to non-availability of vaccines. This is not something that the passage was saying. There is no indication of the change of availability of vaccines. The use of essential healthcare services witnessed a decline all over the country during the lockdown. This much is there and they've given data to support it. In 2021, most healthcare services indicated improvements similar to pre-pandemic level. So we're not seeing, this again is not something that is there in the passage. We don't know what the current trend is. So therefore, 3 is wrong. During a lockdown, urban households reported a greater proportion of institutional births. No, there was no urban-rural disconnect that was described in the passage, and of course they did not say that the institutional births have increased. The passage points to a decreasing trend. Therefore, 1, 3 and 4 were wrong options and only 2 was correct, right? Passage 25, one more, right? Okay. the supply of two crucial raw materials, namely iron ore and coal, has not been continuous to the steel sector. There have been some instances over the past years which have caused the disruption of the supply of raw materials to the industry, which has resulted in non-availability of raw materials or high prices of both. So the supply side has had some issues. There have been various mine closures over the past years as a result of the Shah Commission's investigation and Supreme Court's announcements. Now we don't know what this commission said, but we know that something happened and there were mine closures that happened, right? Bans on iron ore mining had been imposed through the Supreme Court rulings in states like Karnataka and Goa due to illegal mining, and in Odisha due to lack of requisite clearances pending from the state government. So two crucial raw materials of steel manufacture have been erratic, and the passage is giving us some reasons why. What is the question? The following assumptions have been made. Which of them are valid? India has witnessed a decline in steel production due to shortage of raw materials. So is there a shortage of production? What happened to production? No. The passage is only saying that the supply is erratic. Sometimes it doesn't work well for us. So it doesn't correlate that to what the production values have been. That's why we can't safely say that one is a valid assumption. There is a decline in the world demand for steel due to slump in China. Again, this is out of scope of the passage. Shah Commission recommended for a ban on illegal mining. Again, we don't know what exactly the Shah Commission recommended. You might know it from your knowledge, but in the passage it doesn't say. The passage simply says that some mines were closed because of this, right? Now we don't know whether it was illegal, whether it was because we had clearances were pending, or what was the reason, right? That's why this is also out of scope. Option 3 is also out of scope of the passage, and you cannot make any of these assumptions. That's why the correct answer for the last question was D, none. Alright, so that brings us to the end of this sector. Thank you, and I wish you all the best for your preliminary examination.
Hello everyone, I am 𝐾𝐨 and let's start with the logical reasoning portion of this CSAT test. So we have been given directions for question 9 and 10. It reads, in the questions given below, certain symbols are used with the following meaning. So we have been given some premise for question 9 and 10, and it reads, A@B means A is greater than B. A plus B means it's either greater than or equal to B. Hash means it's smaller than. Percentage means A is either smaller than or equals to. Dollar means it's equal to. So let's quickly simplify it. At the rate is greater than. Positive is, a plus sign is greater than equals to. Hash is smaller than. Percentage is smaller than equals to. And dollar is equals to. Alright, so let's see the questions. We have been given some relationships in these statements, so we'll use the information provided in the direction. Alright, so let's see. At the rate is greater than, dollar is equals to, so G equals to E, and D is less than K, and we know E is less than S, and K is, what is percentage? Percentage is less than equals to G. So if we combine these two, this becomes E is less than S. Alright, and if we combine the first and the last one, this becomes K is less than equals to G. Now we are left with the second one. If we put it here, so this becomes our premise. Alright, so let's see what conclusions follow. First conclusion says S at the rate D. At the rate we know is greater than. S is greater than D. So from here, can we denote that S is greater than D? Yes, we can. So conclusion 1 follows. Let's see, conclusion 2 is D hash is less than E. So from this we can see G equals to E and D is definitely less than E. So this also follows. Let's see the third one, that reads K plus is greater than equals to, K is greater than equals to E. So we know that it's the other way around. K is less than equals to E. So this does not follow. So obviously A would be your answer for question number 9. Only 1 and 2 follow. Okay. Let's move on to next one. Again, we have been given some statements. Let's quickly check this, what the relationship is. That's equals to G, K is greater than equals to P, M is less than equals to T, and positive is greater than. So P is greater than equals to M. So if we can combine them. If we put this one here, this means we can write it like this, and this one we can put it here, we can write it like this, and T from the first statement we know is equals to, so this is our premise. We can remove the other parts. Alright, the first one also. So let's see what conclusion follows. So we have been given same pattern, 3 conclusion. Let's see. K is at the rate we know is greater than, so K is greater than T. So do you see that there are opposite marks, opposite symbols with respect to T and K? So we cannot obviously conclude this. That remains a doubtful situation. It may be or may not be. G dollar is equals to G equals to P. G we know is equals to T, but T is greater than M, and then we have opposite symbol, right? So this also does not follow. Let's see the third one. Again we have at the rate, that is greater than, T is greater than P. Same relationship, we cannot still conclude opposite symbols, so this one also does not follow. So D would be your answer for question number 10. None of the conclusions given above follow the premise given in the statement. Alright, moving ahead. So question number 17 reads, Dom has been visiting friends in Riverdale for the past 2 weeks. She is leaving tomorrow morning and her flight is very early. Most of her friends live fairly close to the airport. Melinda lives 10 miles away. Frank lives 5 miles away. Okay, we have some data that this is, if there is this is airport, we have Melinda living 10 miles away, right? Then we have Frank living 5 miles away. Sanjana 7 miles away. Then we also have Sanjana who is 7 miles away. Adam is farther away than Frank, so Adam is towards this side but closer than Sanjana, but obviously between Sanjana and Frank. So Adam is somewhere here between 5 and 7 mile. So the question asks approximately how far away from the airport is Adam. So it obviously would be between 5 and 7, and your option is 9, 7, 6 and 5. It is very obvious and straightforward. So very easy question, right? So it would be C, 6 miles. Adam is 6 miles away from the airport. Moving ahead to next one. If forum, question number 18, if forum could be given the code number, this can be given to IAS. Okay, so there has been some typo. If forum is given this code, just consider it like this, and they are asking for IAS, what code number can be given to? So this should be rather placed here. Alright. So we know the code for forum. We need to find the code for IAS. So let's quickly write it down. Forum. And we know the corresponding numbers. We have been telling you. I hope you remember the code. Alright. These are all a multiple of 5s. This is 5, 10, 15, 20 and 25. Alright. So from this we can denote that F is obviously 6, O is obviously 15, here we can see, R is obviously it's 18, and then we have U, that is after T in 𝐸-𝐽𝐽, that would be 21, and M is 13. So the code here is 614182013. Is it same? Okay, this has been reduced. This is same. M is same, and this also has been reduced. So you see a pattern. Vowels, the corresponding number for vowels has been reduced by 1, so it is -1. So we have actually found a pattern that for vowels the corresponding number is reduced by 1, but for other letters it is the same. So let's see what IAS, what most of you, or maybe many of you, would be aspiring for. What can be the code according to this statement? So we know that I and A both are vowels. Alright. So the code for I, the corresponding number for I is 9, just before J, and 1 is obviously A. S is, we know, 19, but this would be -1, this would be -1, and that would be as it is. So that would turn out to be 8, and just before that would be, do not just minus, don't write 8 and then it would be 0. It's not like that. It's just, it represents the previous letter behind it, the previous letter to the vowel. So this turns out to be, the previous letter to A is Z, that is 26. Alright. And S is a non-vowel, a consonant. So we read S as 19. So our code turns out to be 82619. So B would be your answer for question number 18. Moving ahead, we have directions for question 19 and 20. Each of these questions is based on the following information. So we have been given this information. Let's see what it is. Percentage X percentage Y means X is son of Y. So now for the same symbols they have given relationships. Dollar means father, @ means sister, and percentage means son. So we know this relationship now. So let's read what the question 19 offers. It says, which of the following shows the relationship that C is granddaughter of E? C is granddaughter of E. There is a generation is in between, and C is granddaughter of E. So this is what we are looking for, right? So let's have a look at the option A. C is son of B. C is son of B. Then B is father of F. B is father of F. We don't know the gender. Now we know the gender for B. B is father of F, and F is father of E. F is father of E. So we cannot say that this corresponds to the relationship we are looking for. So this option is incorrect. So let's have a look at the another option. A is incorrect. B says B is father of F, and F is father of E, and E is son of C. So they turn out to be the couple. This is also not the relationship we are looking for. Let's have a look at the next one. It reads C@B. C is sister of B and B is son of F and F is son of E. So can we say that C is granddaughter of E? B is grandson and C is granddaughter. So this definitely is your answer, because this is the relation we are looking for. All right. So C is your answer for question number 19. Let's also check what option D offers. E is son of B. Let's write it a bit down. E is son of B and B is father of F and F is father of C. So obviously this also does not follow. So option C is correct for question number 19. Just remember this for the next question also. Moving ahead. Question number 20. Which of the following shows the relationship that S is father of Q? Or maybe let's write it down. Dollar is father, we know. Percentage is son and @ is sister. Let's also confirm @ is sister. Alright, so we know this by the premise of the question. So we are looking for a relationship that S is father of Q. S is father of Q. So this is what we are looking for. So let's have a look at option A. S @ sister. @ is sister. S is sister of P. S is sister of P and P is father of Q. So definitely S becomes aunt of Q. So this is not what we are looking for. So option 1 is incorrect. Let's have a look at the second one. Q is sister of P. Q is sister of P and P is son of S. But see, this appears correct. This is somewhat what we are looking for, but we cannot ascertain that this is mother or father. S can be mother or father as well, but in the premise, in the question, they are asking that S must be father of Q. So this was very close, but still is incorrect. So A and B is incorrect. Let's have a look at the C option. Q is father of S. So this by itself is incorrect, because we are looking for something S is father of Q rather than other way around. So obviously D turns out to be an option, because none of the options offers this relationship. Alright, so option D is correct for question number 20. Jumping on to next one. Question 29. Study the following figure and answer the questions given below. So we have been given a figure where square represent trained nurses, circle represent married population and triangle represent nurses in hospital. These are trained nurses, these are nurses in hospital. So the question reads, if hospital management requires only married trained nurses, so they must be married, they must be trained, and nurses for operation theatre. So that obviously means they are asking for hospital. Operation theatre is always in hospital, right? So which part of the diagram should be chosen by the hospital? So they are looking for married, they are looking for circle, they are looking for trained, they are looking for square also, and they are looking for operation theatre, that is hospital. So obviously where all overlap, that is 5. So D would be your answer for question number 29. Alright, so that was the trick here. They are looking for operation theatre. You have to obviously know that operation theatres are in hospitals. Going ahead, right? Question number 30. So we have been given some letters coded in a way then we have to find what would the code for this. If in a code lend becomes this code becomes this, and move becomes this, then what will diagram be in that code? Okay, so let's quickly write it down. Lend becomes JCLB and move becomes KMTC. So let's try to find a relationship between two. E is minus 2, E minus 2 becomes C. E is, we know, fifth, C is third. So CDE, if we take it other way around, CDE, so it's a plus 1. And over here, let's CBCD, it is also a plus 1. Over here, if we look, LMN, it is also a plus 1. JKL, it is also a plus 1. So the code is actually minus 1, but we have just simplified it for our faster solutions, right? So let's see if it also applies here. C plus 1, like a letter between, is D, that is CDE. And then STUV, this is also plus 1. MNO, this is also plus 1. And KLM, this is also plus 1. So we have confirmed our premise that for diagram, whatever the code would be, it would come from plus 1. So what we would have to do, that it would be B plus 1D, right? For I, that would be G, alright, 𝐮𝐻𝐼. Then A, obviously we have to go beyond it, so that would turn out to be Z, and then Y. For G, that it would be EFG. For R, obviously PQR. For A, that is, again we have seen Y. M obviously is KLM. So this should be your answer, and your option D is correct for question number 30. BGYEPYK is the code for diagram. Alright, pretty straightforward question, no tricks. Moving ahead. So now we have directions for question number 31 to 35. It reads, read the following information carefully and answer the following questions given below. So we have been given some long premise here. I hope you are able to see the bottom part of it. So let's quickly read it. There are 6 students, A, B, C, D, E and F. They had written different exams: Anthrop, Biology, Physics, Polity, Hindi and Chemistry. There are 6 students. They have written different exams, but not necessarily in the same order, and scored different marks. All of them are sitting in a circular table facing the center. So there is a circular table, and there are 6 students, and they are all facing the center. C sits second to the right of the one who had written Anthro exam. So let's assume this one has written Anthro exam, and C sits second to the right of the one who has scored Anthro exam. B sits second to the left of the one who has scored 98 marks. So let's put this information here, that B sits second to the left of the one who has scored 98 marks. The one who had written Polity exam sits second to the left of the one who had scored 90. Let's move it down. So the one who appeared in the Polity exam sits second to the left of the one who has scored 93 marks. B scored second highest marks. So we know that B has scored second highest marks. Alright. E scored less than 85 marks. E has scored less than 85 marks. C sits to the immediate left of the one who had written the biology exam. So we know the position of C already. So this turns out that biology, the one who has given biology exam, sits just opposite to the one who has given anthro exam. B did not write chemistry exam. We know that B has not written chemistry exam. Alright. The difference between the marks scored by A and D is divisible by 3. So any one between A and D can be greater. So let's assume the difference is multiple of 3. Alright. The one who had written chemistry sits opposite to D. Now we also know that the one who has written chemistry is sitting opposite to D. F is not an immediate neighbor of B. So B's position we know, so F is not immediate neighbor of B. Alright. C scored 90 marks. We know the position of C already, so we can directly jump on to writing the C's marks, and 80 is the lowest marks. So lowest, now we know lowest marks are 80. So we are just clubbing all the information here and we'll be utilizing it and seeing what all possibilities can be formed out of it. Alright. The difference between the marks scored by F and the one who had written Hindi is 5. So between F and the one who has given Hindi exam, the difference is 5, right? So this is another information we have. The one who scored marks in prime number sits immediate right to B. See, it is a very lengthy question, so have patience while solving it and go slow and do not miss out on any information. That is the prime thing here. If you miss out on one single information, you'll have to read this long premise again, and that will consume time, and time is gold. Of course, there is a race to clear the that 66.66 barrier, that threshold. So if you have to cross over it, then definitely use your time very diligently. Make sure you are investing proper time in understanding the premise if at all you are solving it. And do not go by the length of the question. Just, it might take time to understand, but it might turn out that the following questions turn out very easy, right? There is a huge possibility. So read them and read them very slowly and carefully. So we have read that the one who scored marks in prime number sits immediate right of B. So this person has scored marks in prime number and sits immediate right to B and immediate left to the one who had written physics exam. So now we know that 98 marks are scored in physics by someone. Here the prime number is less than 90 but not 89. So the prime number here is less than 90 but not 89. And we already know that lowest marks are 80. So that prime number turns out to be what? 83. So we know the marks already, that someone here has scored 83. No, 83. Alright. Moving ahead. D did not score marks in prime number. So this person is not D. A is sitting opposite to C. We know the position of A already. So A is sitting opposite to C. So let's see if we can apply all this information we can directly rub it off. We have utilized this. We have these premises. We have to put it in the alternatives we are going to draw. So we know that D is sitting opposite to chemistry, can we apply it directly? We know anthro, the person who is given anthro and biology are sitting opposite, so obviously chemistry cannot come in their chemistry. Alright, A and C have already occupied positions, so obviously D would be here, or the one who has scored chemistry. Or maybe let's draw an alternative possibility. Let's assume D is here, chemistry, the one who has scored, who has appeared chemistry, sits here. Let's draw an alternative perspective also, if at all it turns out to be true. So chemistry, the one who has appeared in chemistry, would be sitting here, D would be sitting here, and A we know is already here, C is here, and we know the marks of C. We know this person has appeared in biology. Alright, these two possibilities can be there. So we have utilized this information already. Let's see if we can apply this information. So towards right of B, someone has scored 83, and second to the right of B has scored 98. So obviously B cannot be here. B cannot sit here because to the right we already know C is sitting, and C has scored 90 marks, which is not obviously 98. So we know B would not be sitting here, and B can be here, but we know B has not appeared in chemistry exam, so B will not be sitting here also. So the only possibility of B sitting here is here. So B, for this possibility, B would be sitting here. Alright, so let's see, D would be here, and but we know that D is not who has scored in prime number, so D is not to the right. So this whole possibility turns out that it is not a possibility in itself. So let's apply this information what we draw here. So let's apply it here in this possibility. So same, anthro, can B sit here? Obviously no, because we know to the right someone has already scored 90, second to the right. Can B sit here? No, because B has not appeared in chemistry exam. B is obviously would be sitting here. And to the right someone has scored 83, and more right, second to the right of B, someone has scored 98. That means A appeared in physics exam. Alright, we have utilized this information, I believe, and we have also confirmed that D is not sitting to the right of B. Now let's see if we can utilize the next information we have, that is the one who appeared in polity is just sitting second to the left of the one who scored 93. So we know the subjects on the left hand side. We don't know the subjects of C and D. So if D would be polity, let's assume D is polity. Can this be polity? Obviously not, because someone has already to the second right has scored 83. So this will be polity. Alright, so we know 5 subjects out of 6, and the 6th one is Hindi. So we know all the subjects by now. Alright, so let's see if we can apply knowledge further. Like we know 4 students, we are left with E and F. So B, nearby B we know F cannot sit, so F would naturally not be sitting where chemistry, the person who has given chemistry, so F would not be this person, so F would naturally be this person, and this turns out that E would be appearing in chemistry, and we also confirm that E has scored less than 85. Alright, So we have utilized this information, we have utilized this, and also this. Let's also write to the right of polity, that is this turns out to be 93. Alright, now let's see the difference between F and the one who scored who appeared in Hindi is 5. Hindi, we know the score is 90, so it would be plus minus 5. So F has scored 85 or 95, we are not yet sure. Alright, but we also know that B has scored second highest. If at all F scores 95, it becomes second highest till now. Let's also apply this information. Lowest is 80. 80 would be here naturally. So for B to be the second highest, F must score only 85, not 95. Alright, I hope you are keeping a track, and this is 80. So we know the seating arrangements now. Let's also confirm that the difference between A and D, that is 98 and 80, 98 and 80 is divisible by 3, that is 18 by 3, that is 6. So this also applies. So we have ensured that all the premises apply, and this turns out to be our final sitting arrangement, scores and subjects. Alright, let's see if we can solve the following questions. What is the position of E with respect to C? See, C is sitting here and E is here. So with respect to C, E is either fourth on the left or second on the right. We do not have fourth on the left, we have second on the right. So B is your answer for question number 31. Alright, moving ahead. Question number 32. 4 of the following 5 are alike in a certain way based on the seating arrangement and thus form a group. Who among the following one does not belong to the group? So we have group based on seating arrangement and one of the following does not follow. So we have F and D. Let's have a look. F and D are sitting together and D is, the second letter is to the right. That means to the right of F is D and to the right of E is A. Yes, so these, we know the group now already. To the right of B is C. No, to the right of B is E. If it would have been CB, it would have formed a group also. So this is obviously not forming. Let's confirm with the option D as well. To the right of D is C. Yes, so this is also forming the same group. So C is your answer. B, C does not belong to the same group as others belong, right? Moving ahead. Question number 33. Which of the following order is true? So obviously they are asking of marks. If we can recall, or maybe we know A has scored 98, 93. Okay, let's write it down. A is 98, B is 93, C is 90, D is 80, E is 83, and F is what? F is 85. So let's see which of the following is correct. A is greater than B. Yes. B is greater than C. Yes. C is greater than D. Yes. D is greater than E. No. E is greater than D. So because of this, it becomes wrong. A is greater than B is greater than C. Yes, of course, right. And C is greater than E. Yes. C is definitely greater than E, and E is greater than F. Definitely not, because of last two it also becomes wrong. Let's have a look at C option. A is greater than C. Yes, we know that. A is greater than C. C is greater than E. Yes, C is greater than E. E is greater than D. Yes, E is greater than D. D is greater than F. No, D is smaller than F, so this also does not follow. A is greater than C. Yes. C is greater than F. Yes, C is definitely greater than F. F is greater than E. Yes, F is 85 and E is 83. F is greater than E, and E is greater than D. Yes, D is 83 and D is 80 and E is 83. So D is correct order. So D would be your answer, A, C, F, E, D for question number 33. Moving ahead, question number 34. How many persons are there between B and the one who likes anthro? Let's have a look. B and the one who likes anthro. So obviously from left or right, wherever we see, we know that there are 2 persons sitting between them. So B would be your correct answer for question number 34. Just have a look at how easy these questions turn out to be if you have given a long premise or difficult premise. If you simplify it, the questions become a cakewalk for you if you have solved the mystery correctly, if you have given it due time it deserves. Alright, let's see next question. What is mark of E? What are the marks of E? E has, we know, scored in prime number, that is 83. So D would be your correct option for question number 35. Alright, so moving ahead, question number 49. We are done with that lengthy question. It was worth giving it time. Alright, so mentioning it again, sir, give time to such questions. They will fetch you good marks. If at all you are maybe trapped in some loop, just jump on to next, but you will definitely, you can skip that loop if you are noting down all the information in your own simplified language and applying it in different possibilities. Alright, so let's read question 49. Find the next term of the series. We have been given a series and we have to find the next term. So let's see if we have a relationship. Yes, we directly see that there is a relationship. This is plus 2, this is plus 3, and this is plus 4. So naturally next would be plus 5, that is 19 would come, and we have to find corresponding letters beside it. From N to K, that is the gap of minus 2. K, L, M, N. L and M are there. From K to H, I, J, K. Alright, so we see this should all be minus 3, E, F, G, H. So this should also be minus 2. So that turns out that there are 2 letters between the next one and E, that is, it would be B, because C and D would be in between. Let's see between last letters also. V and T, that is a gap of 1 letter between. R, S, T, a gap of 1. P, Q, R, a gap of 1. Then obviously a gap of 1 would be N, O, P. So this turns out to be your answer, and this is given in option C. So option C is correct for this series in question number 49. Alright, moving ahead, question number 58. Syllogism based question. We have 2 statements and 2 conclusions. Let's have a look. All buildings are chalks. All buildings are chalks. No chalk is toffee. No chalk is toffee. So conclusion 1 is no building is a toffee. Yes, that is correct. All chalks are building? No, there might be some chalks which are not building. So only one follows. Conclusion 1 follows. A would be your answer for question number 58. Very easy question. Moving ahead. Question number 59. Choose the box that is similar to the box formed from the given sheet of paper X. So this is the sheet of paper and we have to see which of the box is similar. So let's quickly draw a cube. The easiest way to solve such question. 3D imagination directly. So we have a black, let's imagine it is at the top and just beside it is blank and alternative is, so at the bottom if at all, so alternative is this is half black. All right, so this is the 3D imagination, and to the right we have a dot, to the right we have a dot, and other spaces are all blank. So this front space is blank, this back space is blank. All right, and to the left also it is blank. So we know that half and full black are opposite to each other. They are opposite faces of a cube. So obviously this turns 1 and 3 turns out to be wrong because they have put it in adjacent manner. So they are always opposite, full black and half black. Let's have a look at other two. So if we put half black at the top, if we turn it upside down, then do we have a dot on the right still? Yes, definitely we can have. So 2 follows. And if this is the same position we have drawn, the fourth one, so is there a possibility 2 adjacent side can be blank? Definitely not. 2 touching sides to the dot cannot be blank. These 2 are together, but they'll not form the possibility where we can see dot on the third side. Alright, so fourth does not follow, only 2 is correct. C would be your correct option for question number 59. Alright, moving ahead. Question number 60. Tom is older than Emily. Tom is older than Emily. Sam is older than Tom. Okay, Emily is older than Sam. If the first 2 statements are true, the third statement is true, false, uncertain, data insufficient. So we have to consider first 2 statements, that is these 2 statements, and we have to know if this is, if we can come to conclude this is true, false. Tom is greater than, older than Emily. That would be, we can represent it like this. Sam is older than Tom. Sam is definitely older than Tom. Okay. Emily is older than Sam. No, it's the other way around. Sam is older than Emily. So third statement is false. So B would be your correct answer for question number 60. Pretty straightforward question. So we have been given some directions for further questions. 8 Olympic sprinters ran 100-meter dash and finished in the following order. Gilchrist finished before Churchill. Amit finished before Patrick. Churchill finished before Dickens. Morrison finished before Dickens and Churchill. Morrison finished after Dickens and Churchill. So Churchill and Dickens we know, so it finished after both of them. So we can put it directly there. Sebastian finishes after White. After White, Sebastian finishes. Patrick finished before Dickens and Morrison's. So we know Patrick here, it finished before Dickon and Morrison. Let's also combine it. Okay, let's first note it down. Patrick finished somewhere before Dickon and Morrison. White finished after Churchill. Churchill we know. White finished after Churchill. And Patrick finished before Dickens. So we can also, from the first one, we can write it here. Alright. So we have this premise. Let's have a look at the questions. If Sebastian finishes after Dickon, then at least how many runners? See, these are the keywords you have to know while solving all these questions. These are little tweaks in the questions which makes a lot of difference. Then how many runners must finish? Must finish, they are asking, must finish before Dickon if Sebastian finishes after Dickon. So this is Sebastian definitely finishes after Dickens. Then how many must finish before Dickens? So by the premise itself we know C, G, and obviously Patrick, and for that matter A also finish before Dickens. Alright, because it mentions that Patrick finished before Dickens and Morrison's. So we already have 4. But there is a possibility that White might finish before D, if at all Sebastian is finishing after Dickens. But concentrate on the question, at least how many runner must finish before Dickens. So this is a doubtful case and should not be included in the must category. So we have our answer already. There are at least 4 who will be finishing before Dickens. So C would be a correct answer for question number 69. Alright, if at all they would have asked, if Sebastian finishes after Dickens, then how many runners can finish before Dickens? So it can be either 4 or 5. Alright, moving ahead. Question 70. If Patrick finished before White, then which of the following must be true? If Patrick finished before White, okay, so we can put this information here and remove the part of the question, the 69th question. So we'll put here and here. So we are sure now Patrick finishes before White. This is what the question reads. Then which of the following must be true? White must finish after Dickens. This is already given that White finished after Churchill, but we are still not sure that it would finish after Dickens or before Dickens. So the possibilities are open. So this is what we cannot say that must be true. It can be true. Amit must finish after Churchill. If Patrick is finishing before Dickens, there is a possibility that Amit might also finish before Churchill and after Churchill. So that possibility is also open. So obviously we cannot conclude about this also. Sebastian must finish after Amit. So we have Sebastian here and Amit here. So see, there is a clarity directly that Amit is definitely finishing before Patrick before White, and White before Sebastian. So Amit would naturally be finishing before Sebastian. Sebastian must finish after Amit. So this definitely is correct. Let's have a look at the last statement also. Morrison must finish after Sebastian. Morrison must finish after Sebastian, but we are still not sure. Sebastian can be here, Sebastian can be after Morrison, or even before Dickens, as the statement reads White finished after Churchill and Sebastian finished after White. So if we apply these two, these remain open-ended statements, so this is also not correct. Your option C is correct for question number 70. Alright, moving ahead. 76. Looking at the portrait of a man, Rimbaud said, his mother is the wife of my father's son. Brothers and sisters I have none. At whose portrait was Rimbaud looking? Okay, let's simplify this. Rimbaud said, looking at the person, let's say that person is X, that his mother is wife of my father's son. This is Rimbaud, and my father's son. And the second statement read, brothers and sisters I have none. So Rimbaud is the only child, so he is the son naturally. And he's talking about his wife, his mother is the wife of my father's son. So X mother is R's wife. At whose portrait was Rimbaud looking? So it was X portrait, and X is child of R and M, so that would be his son. Alright, D is the correct option for question number 76, because he is mentioning his gender also, his. Alright, so that is his son. Moving ahead, question number 77 and 80, we have directions. There are 128 cubes with me which are colored according to two schemes. There are two schemes. First reads 64 cube, each having two saffron adjacent faces and one white and the other blue on their opposite faces, while black on the rest. So let's quickly draw for this one. It reads two saffron adjacent faces. Let's say this is saffron, let's say this is also saffron, because they are talking about two saffron adjacent faces, one white and the other blue on their opposite side. So their opposite side is this and the back one. So this bottom side can be either blue or white, or the other way around, white and blue at the back of it. So this is what they are saying, and it says while black on the rest. On the rest are obviously this one is can be black or this can be black. This is what this premise is. Let's have a look at the second one. This scheme said 64 cubes each having two adjacent blue faces and one saffron and other black on their opposite faces, while saffron on the rest, and then they are mixed up. Okay, so second scheme says two adjacent blue faces. We have, just make sure that we have for blue we have written B, and for black we have encircled B. Avoid confusions. Okay, so we have blue faces, adjacent faces, one saffron and the other black on their opposite side. So on their opposite side, let's assume this is saffron, and on the opposite of the second adjacent blue face is black, while saffron on the rest. So this would be saffron and this also would be saffron. So it has three saffron faces and it has two saffron faces. This has two black faces and it has one black face. This has one blue face and this has two blue faces. Alright, let's have a look at the questions. How many cubes have at least two colored saffron faces each? So we know that there are 64 cubes each following these schemes. So the question reads, how many cubes have at least two colored saffron faces each? At least. So we know that 64 over here, let's remove it from here. 64 cubes are already following. This is the question, that at least two saffron faces are there here itself, and it read two colored saffron faces. Alright, so here there are three faces, so this would also be covered under same scheme because they are asking at least. So 64 plus 64, it's 128. So your answer for question number 77 is 128, and C option would be correct for question 77. Alright, let's have a look at 78. What is the total number of saffron faces? Okay, we have to calculate total number of saffron faces. We know the strength of the cube, right? So here are two faces, so it will be 64 cube into 2. That would be 128. And here there are three faces, 64 into 3. So that would turn out to be 192. So if we add them, that turns out to be 8200 and 320. So your answer would be 320, B. For question 78, there are total 320 number of saffron faces. 79th question reads, how many cubes have two adjacent blue faces each? So this has only one blue face and this has two blue faces. So how many such cubes are there with two adjacent blue faces? That is 64, we already know. So your answer would be A for 79. Moving ahead, last question from the logical reasoning portion. Which two colors have the same number of faces? So we have to calculate the total number of faces for each color. Saffron we have already calculated. Let's also calculate for blue. Blue is over here, there is one face and 64 would be there from first, and from second it would be, there are two faces and 64 cross 2 is 128. That would turn out to be 192. Alright, let's have a look at black also. Over in the first scheme there are two black faces, so that would be 128, and in second there is only one black face, that would be 64, so this would also be 192. And then we have white also. White obviously would be 64 because there is only one white in scheme 1. In scheme 2 there is no white at all. So we know saffron faces are 320, blue is 192, black is 192 and white is 64. Then the question they are asking is, which two colors have the same number of faces? Obviously we know black and blue have 192 faces, so that would be a correct answer. Saffron we know is 320, white we know is 64. So all these options are incorrect and your answer is A for question number 80. Alright, so that is it in logical reasoning portion. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone, myself Jay, and I will take you the quant section discussion of the CSAT simulator test, last one. Fine. So the first question quant section is question number 11, and it says that a work can be completed by 25 men in 30 days if after working for X days 10 men left the work and the whole work is completed in 40 days. Find the value of X. Okay. What is given is that 25 men are working for 30 days. So total unit of work, total work is 25 into 30 is equal to 750 unit. The total work is 750 unit. after working for X days, 10 men left. Initially 25 men worked for X days, and after X days 10 men left. It means that 15 men worked for, what is given is that the entire work is being completed in 40 days. Then 15 men worked for 40 minus X. Initially 25 people worked for X days. Then 10 men left the work, and the remaining 50 men completed the remaining work, and they did for 40 minus X days. So can we say that according to question 25x plus 15 into in the bracket 40 minus x is equal to 750? Because see, the first initially 25 men worked for x days, then 15 men worked for 40 minus x days, and the total work is 750 units. Solve this equation, you will get 25x plus this is 600, then minus 15x is equal to 750, 10x is equal to 150, x is equal to 15. So initially 25 men worked for 15 days, and then 15 men worked for 25 days. Okay, they will complete the entire 750 unit work in 40 days. Correct option is A, or value is 14. Next question, question number 12. It says that the average of 7 consecutive numbers, notice this, is 34. This is average. Then find the largest of these numbers. So can you say that if the first number is x and all the numbers are consecutive numbers, then the next number will be x plus 1, then x plus 2, x plus 3, x plus 4, x plus 5, x plus 6. If first number is taken as x, then since these numbers are consecutive, we will add plus 1, plus 2, plus 3 to other numbers. So we will get the 7 consecutive numbers in this way, and we have to find the average. So simply add all these numbers. Since these are 7 numbers, in denominator it will be 7, and the value given is that this is equal to, or this is equal to 34. This is 7x plus 21 upon 7 is equal to 34. X plus 3 is equal to 34. Then x is equal to 31. The value of x is 31. The first number is 31. We have to find the largest of this number. The largest of the numbers is x plus 6. X plus 6 means 31 plus 6 is equal to 37. Sorry, this is 37. The largest of the 7 consecutive numbers is 37 when the first number is 31. Correct option is A, 37. Question number 13, a statement based question. It says that is A is an even number. It is asking whether A is an even number. What is given? Statement 1 says that 6A plus 3B is an even number. Statement 2 says that 3A plus 6B is an even number. Which of the following statement is sufficient to answer the question? We have to see whether whether A is an even number can be found by simply using statement 1 or statement 2, or we need both of them, or both of them are not sufficient to answer the question. See, this is 6A plus 3B. Now consider that this 6 is even number. Assume that A is even. Let's say A is even, plus 3 is this is odd. 3 is odd number. Assume that B is odd. Fine. Then even into even will always give an even number. Odd multiplied by odd will always give an odd number. This is a, and whenever even and odd number are added, the resultant will be always odd number. What the statement is saying, that 6a plus 3b is an even number. It means that this cannot happen because this is even number. Now let's say 6 is even. Let's assume a is odd. Sorry, let's again take it as even. Then 3 odd. Take b as even this time. Then you will get even here. Odd into even. Even. This is even. Since we don't know, that here when the b is even, this entire number is coming as even. So statement 1 cannot, statement 1 alone is not sufficient to answer this question. Now come to statement 2. 3a plus 6b. 3 is odd number. A, take a, what it's saying is that a is an even number. Let's say a is an even number. Then 6 is even number. B, take b as odd. This will be again even number plus even number is equal to even number. When odd number is multiplied by even number, it will give you even number. Okay, even. Odd into even, even plus even, even. Okay. Take b as this time as even number. So odd, even plus even. This time take b as even. This will be even number plus this will also be even number. The resultant will be even number. So in both the cases, this is 3a plus 6b is an even number. So in both the cases, if you are taking a as even number and taking b as both as odd and even, because we don't know whether b is odd or even, we will take b both as odd and even number. Then we find that the resultant number is even number in both the cases, and the statement is saying that 3a plus 6b is an even number. So statement 2 alone is sufficient to answer the question. Statement 1 is not sufficient to answer the question, because if you are taking different, assuming that 6a is that a is even number, and we will take b as both even and odd number, and if we find that in one case this is not even number. Okay, so statement 2 alone will be sufficient, will answer the question, not statement 1. Correct option is B. Question number 14, bit lengthy one in, and we'll see. When the market price per kg of rice and wheat is in the ratio of 3:2, the monthly expenses of a family towards rice and wheat are in the ratio of 5:6, 3:2 and 5:6. This is market price, that is cost, and this is the expenditure. Fine. We know that expenditure is equal to cost into amount. If say 10 kg of rice is bought at a cost of rupees 10 per kg, then the expenditure will be rupees 100. Okay. Now next, if the market price of rice and wheat becomes in the ratio of 4:3, what will be the ratio of expenses towards them? Okay. Now say cost is given as 3:2. Can you say that it's a, look, if this is rice and this is wheat, then the cost will be, if this is rice and this is wheat, the cost will be, this is 3:2, take it as 3x, 2x, expenditure is 5:6, take it as 5y, 6y. So can we say that the amount amount of the rice and wheat will be 5y upon 3x and 6y upon 2x. This is the amount of rice and this is the amount of wheat. Next is saying if the market price of rice and wheat becomes in the ratio of 4:3. If see, if the in the second condition, if the cost is becoming 4:3. Let's say that this the increased cost is, let's say, 4z and 3z. Okay, this is z. This is the new market price increased from the initial market price. Then what will be the ratio of expenses towards them? We know that this is the amount of rice, this is the amount of wheat. The amount is constant, same. Only the price of the rice and wheat is increasing. What will be the new expenditure? We know that expenditure is equal to cost into amount. New cost is amount is 5y upon 3x. New cost is 4z. We have to find the ratio of expenses is to amount. Again the amount of wheat is same, 6y upon 2x, and the new cost is 3z. x, y, z, since these numbers are in ratio, they will cancel each other. You will get 5 into 4 upon 3 is to 6 into 3 upon 2. This will become 20 by 3 is to 18 by 2. This can also be written as 20 upon 3 upon 8 by 2, then 20 by 3 into 2 by 18. This will go 9 times. Then 20 upon 3 into 9. 20 upon 3 into 9. This will become 20 by 27. Correct option is B. One thing that we have to keep it in your mind is that expenditure is equal to cost into amount. You have to calculate the amount. Given values are of ratios are of cost and expenditure. Once you find the amount, you have given the new cost, the increased cost, inflated price, and then you have to find the new expenditure. So expenditure is in the ratio of 20:27. Correct option is B. Question number 15. It says that tap A, B and C are connected to a water tank and the rate of flow of water is 42 liters per hour, 56 liters per hour and 48 liters per hour. Tap A and B fill the tank while tap C empties the tank. If all the three taps are opened simultaneously, the tank gets completely filled up in 16 hours. What is the capacity of the tank? Let's draw a tank here. This is tank and this is tap A and this is tap B. They both are filling the tank, fine, and from here there is one tap that is emptying the tank. This is C. What is given is that tap A and B fill the tank. Okay, when they are opened simultaneously, the tank gets completely filled up in 16 hours. See, 42 liter per hour is the capacity of A and this is 56 and the emptying rate is 48 liters per hour. Now if all the taps are opened simultaneously, then this is filling by the rate of 56 liters per hour, 42 liters per hour. The empty rate is 48 liters per hour. See, if all are opened simultaneously, then 42, that is filling the tank, 42 liter per hour, then 56 liter per hour, and this will be minus 48. This is 50 liter. If all the taps are opened simultaneously, then in 1 hour the tank will have 50 liters of water. Then we have to find, it is saying is that the tank is getting completely filled in 16 hours. 16 hours. What is the capacity of the tank? If a tank is filled 50 liter in 1 hour, then and in 16 liters it is getting completely filled, then simply multiply it by 16 and you will get the capacity of the tank. Capacity of the tank will become 800 liters. Correct value is D. This is 15 liter in 1 hour, then in 16 hours the tank will get 18 liters of water. Capacity of the tank is 800 liters. Correct option is D. You just have to add the capacity of taps A and B and deduce the capacity of tap C, because all of them are simultaneously open. The next question is question number 16. It says that a tradesman gives 4% discount on the marked price and 1 article free with every 15 articles bought and still gains 35%. Then the marked price is more than the cost price by. Very interesting question, bit tricky, but we'll solve this. It says that the first discount is 4%. See, there are 15 total. The customer is getting 15 articles, then 1 article for free. So there are 15 articles for which the price was paid, and the 16 articles the customer is getting as for free if the customer is buying 15 articles. Now if you see this 16th article, the cost of the 16th article is acting as a discount on all the articles. So the discount will be 1 by 6 into 1 by 16 into 100 is equal to 6.25. This is discount number 2. 6.25. Let me explain this in a different way, because many of you would not have understood this. See, let's suppose a case that the shopkeeper is saying to the customer is that if you article A is costing rupees 100, fine, and if you buy 4 articles A, then you will get the 5th article for free. And it means that if the customer is paying rupees 400, then he is getting articles worth 500, but he has to pay only 400, but he is getting articles costing 500. Then rupees 100 is acting as a discount, and total he is getting 5 articles. Okay, and on 5 articles he is getting rupees 100 discount. Then 1 by 5 into 100 is equal to 20%. Then on all the articles he is getting 20% discount, because he is getting 5 articles for rupees 100, which without discount he would have paid 500, but he is paying only 400. Then he is getting 20% discount on all the articles. So rupees 80 for 1 article, then 5 equal to 400. So the cost of each article is rupees 100, but he is getting for 80 rupees only. Then the discount is 20%. Similarly, For 16 articles, the discount is 6.5%. Then this is acting as a second discount. The first discount was 4%. We will calculate the overall discount. The overall discount will be, the trick here is to calculate both the discounts. Overall discount here, in the overall discount will be -4. We will take minus sign because it is a discount, and 6.25 here, plus because both will multiply and give us a positive sign. 4 into 6.25 upon 100. If you calculate this, this will be somewhere 10%, overall 10% discount. Overall discount is 10%. Then it says that still if the customer is giving overall discount of 10%, still the tradesman is gaining 35%. Let's say that the cost price is 100, or say marked price is 100, not market price, cost price, and the selling price is 135, because he is gaining 35% profit, and he is giving overall discount of 10%, then over on a marked price. Then 90% of marked price is equal to 135. Then marked price is 135 into 100 by 90. This will become 150. The marked price is 150. We have to find the marked price is more than the cost price by. The cost price is, we have assumed that the cost price is 100, then the marked price will be 150. We have to find marked price is more than, then we will see that this is 150 minus 100 upon 100. This is 50. This is 50%. If the cost price is 100 and marked price is 50, the marked price is higher than cost price by 50%. The correct option is D. This was an easy calculation. What the trick here was this: 1 by 6 into 100, you will get 6.5% discount, and this will act as a discount on all the articles. Fine. So you get two discounts. Overall discount is 10%. Assume that the cost price is 100, then the selling price is 150, because the tradesman is getting 35% gain profit on overall profit of 35%. Then since the overall discount is 10%, then 90% of marked price is equal to 135. Then you find the marked price, then how much marked price is more than the cost price? It is 50%. Correct option is D. Question number 36. Quant question. It says that A can do the work in 10 days and B can do the same work in 15 days. If B start and A joins him after 5 days, then in how many days the work will be completed? This is A can do the work in 10 days and B can do the work in 15 days. Then how will you get the total work? Remember this thing in your mind, that if A can do a work in 10 days and B can do a work in 15 days, to find the total work, we have to take the LCM of 10 and 15. You will get 30. 30 is the total unit of work. And it says that since this is 30 units is the total work, then the next step is to find the efficiency of A. If the total work is 30 unit and A can do the work in 10 days, then efficiency is 30 upon 10 is equal to 3 unit. it means that A will do 3 units of work in 1 day. Then efficiency for B equal to 30 by 15, 2 units. B will do 2 unit of work in 1 day. Now it says that if B starts the work and A joins him after 5 days, then in how many days the work will be completed? Let's say that let's say that the work will be completed in X days. Fine. Then B is working for all the X days and A is working for X minus 5, because A is joining B after 5 days. So B is working for all the X days, then A is joining him after 5 days. It means that A is working for X minus 5 days. This is the total unit of work. Simply add the work done by B and the work done by A, you will get the 30 unit of work. Calculate this. We know that for B we will substitute it as 2x, then for A this is 3, x minus 5 is equal to 30. This will become 5x minus 15 is equal to 30. 5x is equal to 45. X is equal to 9 days. So in 9 days the total work will be completed, and in this it means that B is working for all the 9 days, A is working for 4 days only. Fine. So the correct option is A, 9 days. In 9 days the entire work will be completed. Question number 37. It says that a person went to the shopping mall. He starts buying items costing 1, 2, 3 up to 20 terms. It means that the person is buying 20 articles. The first article is costing rupees 1. Second article costing rupees 2. Similarly, up to 20 articles, and the 20th article is costing rupees 20. And it further says that in addition he spends 25% of the original amount he had on buying a shirt. Original amount. Remember this. Now he is left with rupees 190. Then calculate the original amount. We have to calculate the original amount. Let's say that the original amount is rupees X. First thing that we have to do is calculate the amount he spends on buying this 20 articles. See, if you see this is a question of arithmetic progression, where you have the first value, that is rupees 1, and the last value, that is rupees 20. You have to find the sum of all these amounts. See, in arithmetic progression you must be remembering this formula, that if the first value and the last value is given, then it is n by 2 A plus L. A is first, L is last. N is 20 because there are 20 articles. 20 by 2, 1 plus 20. 10 into 21 is equal to 210. So in the first amount that he spends on buying 20 articles is 210. Then he is spending 75% of the original amount in buying only one shirt. Original amount is X. 75% means 3 by 4x on buying a shirt. Then he is still left with rupees 190, and if you add all these three you will get the original amount X. So he comes to the mall with rupees X and he spends rupees 210 on buying 20 articles, then 75% of X on one shirt, and is still left with rupees 190. Calculate this equation. You will get, this is 400 plus 3 by 4x equal to x. This will become 1600 plus 3x is equal to 4x. It means that x is equal to 1600. Correct option is B. Here you have to only do one thing, that is find the sum of all the first set of 20 articles. If you can get this value 210, this question is very easy to answer. Correct option is B. 1600 is the original amount. Now move further. This question number 38. It says that 2 pipes can fill a tank in 10 minutes and 30 minutes respectively, and a third pipe can empty the full tank in 20 minutes. This is the rate with which 2 pipes are filling the tank, and this is the rate at which the third pipe can empty the tank. If all the 3 pipes are opened simultaneously, the tank will be filled in. Okay. A very similar question in the earlier question of tank and water, we find that we have to find the capacity of the tank. See, if a pipe can fill a tank in 10 minutes alone, then it will in 1 minute it will fill 1/10 of the tank, 1/10 part, and the second pipe will fill in 1/30 of the 1/30th part of the tank in 1 minute. If it can fill the tank, entire tank in 30 minutes, then in 1 minute it will fill 1/30th part. Fine. And for the when the a third pipe is emptying the tank, it will empty in 1 minute it will empty 1/20th part. See, here we will take the positive sign because they are filling the tank. Here we will take negative sign because the third pipe is emptying the tank. Now if all the pipes are opened simultaneously, then in 1 minute we will calculate the value for 1 minute. Then 1/10 minus 1/30 minus 1/20. This is filling, this is filling, this is emptying the tank. So we will take the positive sign for this 2 and negative for the third one. We see that, calculate this value. This is 66 plus 2 plus 3. Sorry, this is minus 3, not plus 3. Minus 3. 5/60, 1/12. It means that in 1 minute tank is getting filled 1/12 part. If all the pipes are opened simultaneously, it means that when first two pipes are filling the tank and the third pipe is emptying the tank, then in 1 minute 1/12 part of the tank will be filled. It means that in 12 minutes the entire tank will be filled. In 1 minute, if a tank can be filled, 1/12 part of the tank will be filled, then in 12 minutes the entire tank will be filled. The correct option is C. Just we have to remember one thing here is that we have to use the positive signs for the pipes which are filling the tank and negative sign for the pipe which is emptying the tank. When all the pipes are opened simultaneously, it means that all are working simultaneously. So two will fill and the third will empty the tank. Then in 1 minute there will still be water in the tank, and this is 1/12 part. Next question, question number 39. The numbers 11,284 and 7,655 when divided by a number of 3 digit. So this is a 3-digit number. Leave the same remainder. Find the number of the 3 digits. So one thing, let's assume that the remainder in both the numbers is x. If say z is a 3-digit number, and if z if these two numbers are divided by z, they are leaving the same remainder x. So can we say that 11284 minus x and 7655 minus x are exactly divisible by this 3-digit number? If these two numbers are exactly divisible by a 3-digit number, then their difference will also be divisible by that 3-digit number. So difference between the two is 11284 minus x minus 7655 plus x. This will be 3629. This is the difference of these two numbers. Because see, let's say that, assume that, take another example, that there are two numbers 15 and 21. If 15 and 21 are divisible by 3, then their difference 6 will also be divisible by 3. Similarly, if these two numbers are exactly divisible by the 3-digit, then the difference will also be exactly divisible by, then the difference, that is 3629, will also be exactly divisible by the 3-digit number. In other words, that the divisor will be a factor of 3629. See, 3 we consider here as 3 in our another example. Then the 3 into 2, 6 will be factored as 3 into 2. Then this is the 3. Similarly, if you see this number, this is a multiple of 9 into 191. And when we multiply 9 into 191, we will get this value. So 191 is a 3-digit value. So our correct option is D. 191 is the divisor, which when divides these two numbers, it leaves the same remainder. One thing we have to do here is that find the factor of 3629. This is 9 into 191, and our number of interest is a 3-digit number. We will take 191. Fine, the correct option is D. Now move to the next question. Question number 40, very easy question. A room is 26 meters long and 10 meters broad. So this is 26, this is 10. Its floor is paved by square tiles. Fine. What will be the least number of tiles required to cover the floor completely? See, to find the least number of tiles, the area of all the tiles should be equal and maximum. Let's say that first find the number of tiles required. Add it here. Number of tiles to floor the house, then area of the floor upon area of tiles. If you divide area of floor by area of tiles, you will get the number of tiles required in the flooring of this house. Now see, it says that what will be the least number of tiles required to cover the completely. If you have to find the least number, if for this number this is to least, the area of tiles should be maximum. Only then you will get the least number of tiles to floor the house. It means that we have to use tiles which have maximum area. The sides of the floor are given, that is 26 meters and 10 meters. So we have to find the sides of tiles, because only then we will get the area of the tile, this side and this side. Okay, since the sides of the floor are given, that is 26 meter and 10 meter, then you have to take the HCF of 26 meter and 10 meter. HCF of then 2 into 13 and 2 into 5. The common highest common factor is 2 meter. This is the side of a tile. Since all the tiles are square, then the area of square tile will be equal to 2 into 2 is equal to 4 meter square. 4 meter square is the area of tile. Okay, this is the maximum area. We have to find the area of the tile as maximum. That's why we will take this as HCF, highest common factor of the sides of the floor. If you take the HCF of the floor, you will get the maximum area of the tiles. Now we know the area of the floor. This is 26 into 10. Area of the tile, that is 4. This will become 65. 65 is the number of tiles required in the flooring of the house. The correct option is D. 65 tiles are required when the area of the square tiles is 4 and the area of floor is 26 into 10, that is 260. Correct option is D. Question number 50, next set of quant questions. It says that A and B completed the work in 12 days and 15 days. It means that the efficiency of A is 1 by 12, the efficiency of B is 1 by 15 respectively. They started the work alternatively for 1 day each, and A started the work first. How much time of the work will be completed? In any such kind of time and work question, here we have to first thing that we have to find is total unit of work. So the total work, this will be LCM of 12 and 15. This is 60. So there are 60 unit of total work. Okay, then efficiency of A is 60 by 12, that is 5 unit. It means that A will do 5 unit of work in 1 day. Efficiency of B is 60 by 15 is equal to 4 unit. Now see, they are not working together, they are working alternatively, and A started the work first. It means that on day one A started the work. A did completed the 5 unit of work. Then on day 2 B comes to work, and B completes 4 unit of work, and they are working alternatively. See, it means that in 2 days they will do 9 unit of work. Fine. We have to find it in how much time 75% of the work will be completed. 75% of the work is 60 units. Its 75% is 45 unit. If in 2 days 9 unit of the work will be completed, then in 4 days 18 unit of work will be completed. It means that 45 unit of work will be completed in 10 days. In 10 days 75% of the work will be completed. The correct option is D. A and B working alternatively, with when A starts first and completes 5 unit of work, then on second day B completes 5 unit of work. In 2 days they complete 9 unit of work. Then in 10 days they will complete 75% of the work. Fine. Correct option is D. This is a direction based question from 51 to 54. I would suggest you that if you start your CSAT paper, look for the direction based questions. They are very easy to attempt. They may look big but easy to attempt, and they will fetch you good marks. Question number 51. It says that the following table shows the marks scored by 7 students in 6 different subjects. So these are 7 students and these are various subjects: Hindi, English, Maths, Physics, Chemistry, and their mark sheet is given. We will see the first question. Question 51. What is the percentage difference between the marks scored by G in Hindi and student D in chemistry? First we will see how much marks they are scoring. We have to find the percentage difference between marks scored by G and D in Hindi and chemistry. Hindi and chemistry. Marks scored by G in Hindi is 55 and D in chemistry is 25. Okay, 55 and 25. So G scores, and see, this is G is scoring out of 80 and chemistry D is scoring out of 40, 25 out of 40. So this will become 55 by 80 into 100. This will be 68.75%. And then D in chemistry is scoring 25 out of 40. This is a 62.5%. What you have to do is that it is asking you to what is the percentage difference between the two. If you subtract 62.5 from 68.75, you will get the value of 6.25%. 6.25% is the difference. Correct option is B. Question number now 52. In how many subjects did student B get more than 65% of marks? So the total subjects are 6, and we have to find that in how many subjects B is getting more than 65% of mark. This is B. This is very easy, and we will calculate from here only. B is in Hindi is getting 51 marks out of 80. There is 51 marks. 65% of 80 is 52. This is less than 52. Again, in English, B is scoring 48. 65% of 80 is again 52. This is less than 52. In Maths, B is scoring 93 marks out of 100. This is 93%. So it is more than 65. It is more than 65%. Sorry, fine, 65%. Then in Physics, he is scoring 28 out of 40. 65% of 40 is 26. He is scoring 28 marks, then more than 65%. Again, more than 65%. Again, 27 marks, again more than 65%. 31 marks, again out of 40. This is very near to 80%, to more than 65%. See, in Maths, Physics, Chemistry and Biology, B is scoring more than 65% of the marks. Then the correct option is 4. Total subjects are 6, and in 4 B is scoring more than 65%. So option would be 4, A. Correct option is A. 53. What is the difference between the percentage of marks obtained by C in Hindi and Physics together and the percentage of marks obtained by B in English and Chemistry together? C in Hindi and physics. If you see this is 62 plus 32. We will calculate both the marks together, and C is scoring 78.33% marks, and B in English and chemistry, B is scoring 48 plus 27 upon 80 plus 40 is equal to this will become 62.5% marks. I have the question paper with me, so you can see in your question paper also, and this is the percentage marks. We have to find the difference. So subtract both numbers, you will get 15.8%. So in the first question we have to calculate percentage of only one mark, only one subject. Here we have to calculate the percentage marks in two subjects together of B and C and subtract them. You will get 5.8%. Correct option is B. Question number 54. What is the overall percentage of marks scored by G in all the subjects together? Overall marks. Come to the question, the direction. G in all the subjects, we have to simply add 55 plus 70 plus 81 plus 30 plus 28 plus 33. You will get 297. This is 80 plus 80 plus 100 plus 40 plus 40 plus 40. This is 300. Sorry, 380. We have to find the overall percentage. So the overall percentage will be 297 by 380 into 100. If you calculate this is somewhere around 80%. Sorry, 78%. The correct option is D, 78%. Next question, question number 55. Again a statement based question. It's saying that in a company there are two types of employees, either 25 years or more than 25 years. Find how many males are 25-year-old. Statement 1 says that there are 45% male employee in the company. Out of the total female employee, 60% are 25 years age. So can we answer from statement 1 how many males are 25-year-old? Perhaps no. Come to the second statement. Total employees of the company are 4800. Out of that, 40% are above 25 years age. See, if you take a first look at this question, it is asking that how many. We have to calculate the number of males who are 25 years old in absolute numbers, not percentage numbers. And here we are getting percentage value, and here the total number of employees. So you need both the statements to answer this question. And if I would be solving this, I will simply mark option C as correct. But I will calculate how to come to the conclusion that both the statements are required. See, there are 4800 total employees in a company. Fine. Out of this, 55% are out of the total female employees, 60% are 25 years old, and there are 40% male employee. So male employee are 45%. Sorry, 45%. Then female employee will be 55%. Fine. we know that out of the total female employees, 65% are 25 years of age. Fine. Then 55% of 4800 is 2640, and 45% of 4800 is 2160. And then 60% of the female employee are 25 years age, है ना. 60% will be 60% of 2640. This is 1584. Okay. Again, it is saying that out of the 4800, 40% are above 25 years of age. Above 25 years of age, it means that 60% would be of 25 years age, because there are two categories, 25 years and more than 25 years. If when 40% are more than 25 years age, then 60% would be 25 years of age. This value will be 2880. Fine. We have to calculate how many males are 25 year old. Fine. So we get total out of total employees, 2880 are 25 years of age, and there are female employees, total female employees who are 25 years of age are 1584. Then you need both these values. 2880 are these are 25 years of age total employees, and these are female employees who are 25 years of age, 1584. If you divide this, you will get the male employees who are 25 years of age. So you need both the statements to answer this question. Correct option is C. You don't have to go in all this long calculation. Simply look at the answer, both statements, and you can answer this question. Fine. Correct option is C. Question number 56. It says that, very easy question. 20 years ago, the ratio between ages of Sita and Meena was 1:4, and at present it is 1:2. What is the age of Sita at present? 1:4 is the ratio 20 years ago. Take it as x and 4x. Then x plus 20 upon 4x plus 20. If you add 20 years in both the ages, you will get the ratio for the present age. This x was 20 years before, then s plus 20 is 1/2. This is the current ratio of their ages. Calculate this. This 2x plus 40 is equal to 4x plus 20. Then 2x is equal to 20 and x is equal to 10. So 20 years ago, the age of Sita was 10 years and the age of Meena was 40 years. 20 years after, the age of Sita, that is x, Sita is x. 20 years at present, the age of Sita will be 10 plus 20, that is 30 years. Correct option is C. The present age of Sita is 30 years because 20 years back, she was 10 years old. Question number 57. The cost price of a television is rupees 25,000. Dimpy sold it at 20% profit to Ramba. It means that Dimpy bought the television for 25,000. Fine. Dimpy sold at 20% profit to Rambha, it means that 20% of 25,000, not 20% of 25,000 is 5,000. 𝐷IMPI is selling to Rambha at 20% profit. It means that the cost price for Rambha is 30,000. Then Rambha spent rupees 5,000 on repairing. Later she sold it at a loss of 25% to 𝐸. Rambha is spending 5,000. It means add this value. For Rambha, the price of the TV is 35,000. Now she is selling to 𝐸 at 25% of loss. So the cost price for 𝐸 is 25% of 35,000. Subtract this value, then 25% of 35,000 is if you see, this is 8750, because see, if you divide 35,000 by 4, you get 8 2 3 0 7 2 8 2 0 5, then 0. Okay, so Rambha sold this television to 𝐸 at a loss of 25%. Then the cost for 𝐸 is 35,000 minus 8,750. It means that it is the cost price for 𝐸 will be 26,250. So what we have to find now is that then the cost price of the television for 𝐸 is how much percent more than the cost price of the television for 𝐷IMPI. For 𝐷IMPI cost price, the cost price for 𝐷IMPI was 25,000 and the cost price for 𝐸 is 26,250. We have to find how much percent more. Okay, so this is 26,250 minus 25,000 upon 25,000. This is 1250 upon 25,000. This is 5%. The cost price of the television for 𝐸 is how much percent more than the cost price of the television? This is 5% more than the cost price for 𝐷IMPI. See, I am again repeating this question. 𝐷IMPI bought this television for 25,000. She sold at a profit of 20% to Rambha. It means that the cost price for Rambha is 30,000. Rambha is spending 5,000 on repairing the TV, on repairment. Then the cost price for Rambha is 35,000. Now she is selling to 𝐸 at a loss of 25%. 25% of 35,000 is 8,750. Then subtract this number. This will become 26,250, and 𝐸 paid to Rambha 26,250, this amount, and we have to find how much percent the cost price of 𝐸 is more than the cost price for 𝐷IMPI. It is by 5%. It's 5% more. Okay, the correct option is C. The next set of questions are direction based questions. It's saying is that answer the following questions based on the given graph. In the line graph, the prices of 4 types of tile M and OP respectively are given for different years. So the graph here is not visible due to some technical reasons, and please look into your question paper to see the value of different tiles over different years, and we will solve the questions directly here. I have the question paper with me, so please look into your question paper. the question 71 is saying is that which type of tiles shows the maximum percentage increase in the price over the given period. So in your question paper, the graph says that for M in the year 2006, the cost of tile is 250, and in the last year, in the year 2012, the cost is coming down to 50. So the cost of tile M is showing a decreasing trend, but we have to find the percentage increase, not decrease. Fine. Now come to the tile N. Tile N in the year 2006, the cost is 300, and in the last year, that is in the year 2012, it is coming down to 250. So again, this is also showing a decreasing trend. Then for O, the first initial value is 150, and the final value is 200. So it is showing a increasing trend. So we have to find the percentage increase. Then 200 minus 150 upon 150. This is 50 by 150, 1 by 3. So there is an increase of 33%. 33% increase. Now we will see for P. For P, the initial value is 50, and the last value is 300. Okay, this is 300. Okay, so see, this P is showing maximum increase. It is showing increase by 6 times. So 300 minus 50, you don't have even to calculate this number, because this will become 250 by simply looking at the numbers. You can see that P is showing a maximum increase of 500%. The correct option is D, P. Next question, 72. Which type of tiles show the maximum average price over the years? In your graph, for M, if you calculate the cost of price of tile M for all the years, you will get this value as, for M, the price of tiles for all the years, it is 1250. Fine. We have to find the maximum average. So this is 250 divided by 7 over the price over the years. So there are 7 years from 2006 to 2012. Since 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So these are 7 years. Fine. So since we have to find the maximum average, we will divide it by 7. Even you don't divide by 7, you will get the answer, because you don't have to calculate the exact average of the of their price. You have to simply find that which tiles shows a maximum average of price over the years. Similarly, if you calculate the price for tile N for over the years, you will get the value of 2150 by 7. For O, it is 1300. For P, it is 1150. So look into your graph and pause the video and calculate the price, add the price of M and OP over the years, and you will get these values. You don't have to go into the exact value by dividing all the values by 7. You can simply see that for N, the addition of the price is shows this is 2150, and if you divide all the price by 7, still the price for the average price of the N is largest over the years. The correct option is N. Find the next question. Question number 73. The total price of all 4 types of tiles in year 2012 is what percentage more or less than the total price of all the 4 types of tiles in 2009? See, if you see in 2009 for M, N, O, P, and take this for 2012. If you see in 2009 the price of M is 150 and N is 350. Then O is 300 in 2009 and P in 2009 is 100. Fine. Then in 2012 O is 300. Then N is showing 250. Then for M it is 150 and for P this value is 300. I think there is a mistake here, so we'll check the value. For P this is 300, for M 250, for O the price is not 300, it is 200. So if you add this value, this is 400 plus 500, 900, and this is 400. I think we have taken the wrong value for P. For P it is in 2009 the value for P is 100. This is correct. Sorry, this is 500 and this is the value of P is correct, 400. This is 400. Again this is also 900. So in both the years 2009 and 2012 the sum of the price of tiles is 900 and 900. So there is 0% increase or decrease. There is no increase or decrease. The correct value is C, 0%. Fine. This question number 73. Now come to the second last question of your quant section. It is asking that what is the ratio of price of tiles O in 2008 to that of tiles P in 2010. If you see, look into your question paper, the price of tile O in 2008 is, O is a triangle mark, in 2000 it is 50. We have to find the ratio of tile P in 2010. P, that is cross mark, in 2010 it is 300. Fine. I think I have taken a wrong value for O here. The O for O it is 200, not this is 200 and this is for P it is P in 2010. This is 250. Fine. This is 4:5. Correct option is D. The cost of the price of tile O in 2008 is 200 and that of the P in 2010 is 250. 200 by 250, 4 by 5. This is 4:5. Our option is A. Now the last question of your quant section. Again a discount based question. It says that an article is listed at 65. A customer bought this article for This is mark price. Customer bought this for 56.16 rupees with 2 successive discounts, of which one is 10%. The other discount of this discount scheme that was allowed by the shopkeeper is, so there are 2 successive discounts. The first discount is given, that is 10%, and we have to find the second discount, and we know that the mark price of the article is 65, and after discount the customer is getting it for 56.16 rupees. So what we'll do, use this formula for 2 successive discounts. Let's say that the other discount is x percent. Fine. Then this will be, since the first discount is 10%, then this is 90 by 100 into 100 minus x by 100 is equal to 56.16. See, this is the mark price. When mark price after 2 successive discounts, the price for the discounted price for the customer is 56.16. Use this formula. We are this is 10%, so 100 minus 10 is equal to 90. Since there are 2 successive discounts, we will multiply the 2 discounts in the marked price, and we will get the price for the customer. Now solve this equation. This 100 minus x is equal to 56.16 into 100 upon 65. If you see, this will become 96. The value, if you calculate this value, it will become 96. Then the value of x is 4. Since x is in percentage terms, value of x will be 4%. Correct option is A, 4%. So this was your last question quant section, and thank you very much. All the best for your prelims exam.